Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Did anybody see Gregor's Kit Kat?
Hello everybody and welcome to the first division of Ultraliga, to Samsung Galaxy Ultraliga itself. I am greeting you, Rafał Majeczek-Szczepanek, together with my fellow and lovely caster Solari and DrBrilmann. Say hello to our viewers.
Hi, hello, how are you doing?
Hello.
Guys, today will be a little bit different day than usual. We are going to have one less game. I'm going to go about it shortly because it's not the topic that we would actually would love to spend some time discussing. If you know, then if you don't know, then go over our message that should be pinned on the chat or actually on the Twitter of the Ultraliga. We have a statement about one of yesterday's games that didn't go as planned. And due to these circumstances, we will be missing a game of Iron Wolves against devils.one. This game will go in favor of devils.one. If you would like to know any more details, then just please go through our official statement. We are going to pause on that, and we are not going to focus on the things that happened yesterday. It was something different, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So let's just stick to our normal plan of normal day, pretty normal day of the Ultraliga. Today we are going to go with Cryptocraft against Back to the Game, then Orbit Anonymo against Forsaken, and the third game of today is going to be Zero Tenacity against Team ESCA Gaming. And in my opinion, even though we are like one match shorter, we have some really interesting games, especially the one in the middle, Orbit Anonymo against Forsaken. We will go about it later. But first of all, what are your thoughts about the best team in the league? Orbit Anonymo 3-0, pretty much, in my opinion, outclassing Zero Tenacity in terms of classy, in terms of stability, in terms of just completion of the game plan.
There is someone who would like to disagree with you right now, but since we don't have any representatives of Zero Tenacity in this room, nobody's going to actually. So we continue with the thought that so far, yes, the numbers show that this is the best team that we have in the league at the moment. And I absolutely agree with what you said about them being a super stable team. And that's even what Zero Tenacity themselves mentioned on the interviews with us. You have to remember that 4 out of 5 of these members have been playing together for a long time already. So they know each other, they know how everybody wants to be playing and how to work around each other. And I really feel like the 5th addition to the team, Afrobro in the jungle, really completes the puzzle so well for them because he fits the team very well. He also understands what everybody wants to be doing there. And he delivers exactly what the team needs from him to be very proactive, but at the same time be as supportive to the main carries as possible.
I think it's a great argument to be made, right? When you mentioned the fact that the 4 out of 5 players are still within the team, or out of all the seasons that they have played together already. This is pretty much the same thing we've been talking about Alisia Bank team that is no longer performing in our league, right? 4 out of 5 players not only have been in Alisia Bank team, but they also have been playing previously in Illuminati Gaming, a team that is actually also not with us anymore. But still, the point here remains the same, right? The amount of synergy, the amount of ways how they can cooperate with each other just stays in a way that, okay, now I know your habits, now I know how you want to do things, now I know what your play style is and game plan for the majority of the situation. So it really plays into the favor of Orbit and Anonymo when we're making this argument whether they are better and in a more performative level than Zero Tenacity. The only thing that you can, of course, say is that, yeah, the thing is we're still in the beginning of the season. Again, it is fair to say that the season is going to be shorter. There's going to be less games to be played, and Zero Tenacity don't have that much time to actually get adjusted within themselves. And maybe this season, maybe they even won't. What do we know, right? The important thing is that for the moment, Orbit Anonymo seems like the most complete body of the team that we have in the entire league, with Zero Tenacity coming right behind them, with a few question mark pings still in our eyes. Like sometimes we just go, okay, and try to understand what is exactly going on. But as the games progress, I feel like we might see way more out of that team than we've been seeing for the past 3 game days that we had.
And simply because Orbit Anonymo is playing today, we are looking at them and we are looking at the match as a game of the week, as the match of the week itself. And they are playing against Forsaken, the team that is a quite opposite of stability. In the first game of the season, they were like pretty bad at the early game, I should say, and they just pick up the pace and get over it. On the following 2 games, they were really good at early to mid game. They were going with a nice gold lead of like 4 to 5k, even against really tough opponents. And then when it came to team fights, they just shattered. They just lost everything they built upon the first 50 or 20 minutes into the game. And in my opinion, against Orbit Anonymo, it will be their biggest problem. If they didn't find a solution within the 24 hours from yesterday, then it's going to be really hard for them to find a solution for the gameplay.
I think there's an interesting point to be made about Forsaken just in general, because as far as it is, I guess, fair to say that the team is still in a bit of a shakier ground, I am quite interested to see what is going to fall out of the Forsaken as the season progresses. And the most interesting players to me currently are Ariana and Rafbin. Now, for everyone who's been following the league, Ariana is not a stranger. He's been pretty much just shining on the mid lane, transition to top lane seamlessly. English hard, okay? English can't speak. But yes, thing is, we saw him first compete in the top lane in our league when he was a top laner for Alibag team. And we pretty much had thought that he's going to be the weak part of the team, again, because of the fact that 4 out of 5 players have stayed the same from Luminar Gaming, the drill. Now, that wasn't the case. He pretty much was at a few times almost carrying the teams to the victory. And even in yesterday's game, it didn't go exactly as planned, but Ariana's performance had me on my tiptoes. I love this Akali. I love it when he's trying to play more influential champions. And then the same drops on the shoulders of Rafbin. This guy showcased to us that he knows how to pilot an Azir. He knows how to do it. He knows how to be a playmaker. And just a tiny bit more of experience, tiny bit more of the stage experience for the entire team with these 2 guys already kind of pushing the rest of the team, going, come on guys, we can actually do this. I feel like from Forsaken, it's a strong contender for, at the very least, top 4.
I actually fully agree with you. I see a lot of potential in Forsaken because they have some fundamentals that are very right for them as a team. If you look at their yesterday's game, it's something that I was praising them for during the game because it's so obvious that they know what they're doing on the map because their timings are always perfect. They know when they have to go in. And the thing that many teams actually stumble upon and that they have problems with is knowing when to get out of a situation, when to stop fighting, when to retreat from an objective. And Forsaken always have these perfected for them.
I would love to add only one thing to this discussion. I would say one thing about Wittmann, the AD carry. He's the guy who did 3 pentakills in the previous season in the second Ultraliga. Nobody ever did that in the second division. I don't believe anybody did that in the first division. That's just amazing, and I'm looking forward to this guy because he's really young, talented, and didn't show you his full potential. But talking about potential, we see a lot of potential in Zero Tenacity. We see a lot of potential in this super team that's been made of really, really good, if not great, if not LEC level almost players. Talking about Harpoon, for example, talking about this guy that made really amazing thing on his debut in the Ultraliga, then moved on to try to conquer the Europe. He's coming back. He came back to Poland. Hachi gathered really amazing players, made up a really amazing team. Today they are playing against Team ESCA Gaming. Normally we would say, it's going to be pretty easy for Zero Tenacity. But is it going to be pretty easy? Because in my opinion, they are performing a little bit worse than we expected.
A little bit. I would say a little bit. Yeah, not too much, not way worse than we could have expected, but something is still not clicking for the team. And I am not entirely sure what exactly it is, because on paper, this roster should be delivering much bigger results, I would say. But in this match, I would say I don't expect Zero Tenacity necessarily to lose, or for ESCA to have very big chances of overthrowing Zero Tenacity, because for ESCA we see that it takes a lot for them to win a game. It really is hard for them still, because this roster is still exploring what they can do on the Rift. But if I were to have a hope in this roster right now at the state where they are, I would say I would look at their mid lane. I think the mid lane matchup between ESCA and Zero Tenacity is going to be a really explosive one, because Boofy from ESCA has been a breath of fresh air. He seems like the most confident player out of the whole team right now, and he's going against Kofte, who has been exceptional so far as well.
I think with ESCA is a fair point to be made, that this roster is still, I like the way you phrase it, exploring their identity and what they can actually do on the Rift, right? Because it just feels like they're trying things out, seeing what they can do, experiment with themselves and with their identity. But when it comes to Zero Tenacity, I'm going to be looking very closely at this game, because I want to see what quality of a game they can actually deliver. Because yes, if you look at the predictions, I think pretty much everybody went with Zero Tenacity for this one, which is, again, understandable on paper and based on what we're saying. But I feel like this is more of a test to Zero Tenacity, if we're talking about, if we just agree on the fact that, okay, let's just pretend that Zero Tenacity won the game. Now, is it a good game or is it a bad game? Win is a win, of course. There's no argument to be made here, but it's about what kind of a win that is, right? And this roster, it feels great. It feels interesting. There's a lot of veteran players. People know what they're doing, but it feels like coming together as a team is just not clicking for them just yet, right? That's the same thing we've just discussed when we talked about Orbit and Anonymo. These guys just are so well on the same page whenever they are on the Rift. It just keeps working, keep making miracles for them. For Zero Tenacity, no, not particularly. It's hard to determine the exact reason, right? Because it can be pretty much anywhere. But more and more we look at it, more and more it feels like we don't have the needed synergy between them all at the same time, right? In order for things to click as well as you would love them to see.
Right. Thank you for your opinions on that. And I would love to hear your opinions about the actual first game of today, Gripchocraft against Back to the Game. And we were really, really close to name this the fight between the teams with 0 wins, because Gripchocraft was like, only this close to lose, this close to win. And this game went straight to the oblivion, straight to the madness, straight to, I don't know how to name it. Maybe you could name.
We might.
We might have lost the sound.
We might have lost. Yeah, we might have lost our host here for a second.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, can we name what was going on yesterday?
No.
Well,
I can't.
It was an ultimate catharsis. Let's say it like this, right? Because the ending of the game was actually pretty incredible.
Yeah.
However, when it just comes to this first game, it's just so unpredictable, I suppose, even as well, because I think that even in the predictions, everybody went for different teams. Somebody went for Back to the Game, somebody went to Gripchocraft, and it's pretty fair. For me, again, as Mutek has been highlighting in yesterday, the guys started to bootcamp, guys started to band up together and try to sort of find their team entity. But for Gripcho, yesterday was an interesting performance for me because to go against devils.one and actually find your win
Opening.
there. Yeah, find the opening to win the game. It was interesting.
It was very interesting, honestly. And after yesterday's matches in this one, I think the mid lane match again is going to be the most interesting one for me because I think when it comes to back to the game. Wait, what? I don't see.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. I believe what Mayutik is trying to tell us is that the drafts are ready and something went wrong with his headset and that there's no current for him. I don't know.
He's drawing something.
He's drawing something. Is that a smiley face? Have you drawn a smiley face? Smile for us.
I hope so.
Wait, I'm genuinely interested to see what this game shows.
No, we still don't have you.
With that being said, we are going to try and fix it as soon as possible. But let's go straight to the drafts.
All right, so we don't have Hui anymore. We don't have Udyr anymore. Thank God we don't have Udyr on the red side anymore. I am yet to see one performing well, but we also don't have Azure anymore, and that's something I was trying to talk about super quickly because Sisyph seems to have pretty confident games on that Azure in the majority of the times, even though there are quite some hiccups if you remember some of his very first games during the previous week. And Seraphine is also going to be removed by Gripcraft, and back to the game are going in with Korotkiy, so another bane of the mid lane is removed, and they still have the last ban. Let's see what it's going to be.
It's interesting to see that the bans have started to slowly, I would say, adjust themselves towards what's being played in the league, right, currently. And there's a lot of these, the Huawei is now being played, the Korotkiy is now being popping up more and more. The Seraphine started to be also a very popular pick. And something meta has been also taken away as well, with Nocturne now not an option. Rumble yet to be banned means is going to be taken quite instantly. I'm not going to be surprised if we're going to see something of a handshake, like a Jax being picked up as soon as possible.
Very likely, yes. But I think I lost the footage, so I don't see what's happening. Or maybe it's on my side. I'm not sure anymore.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, it's fine. It's back. So with the ban of Nocturne, yeah, not surprised if that Xinjiao is going to be picked. Also, not going to be surprised if Virus is going to be picked, even though, as you said, for back to the game, this is an opportunity right now to counterpick the top lane and to leave the other lane still as surprise for Gripcraft. Okay, I like it much more.
It's an interesting way. They can still flex that karma, and going with the karma now just opens up. There's okay that we can do this, we can do that, we can try to look for this, we can go for that. So there's quite a few things they can try to fish for with the upcoming picks. Gripcho can try to secure themselves the jungler or go for the bot lane. Pretty much as I start to speak about it, it's exactly the thing happens. Varus not being banned away means you pick it up immediately. And then the second rotation of bans, what you can do is just start to pick off the supports. Melio, Nautilus, for example, is just one of the things that you can theoretically ban right here, right now.
Maybe even Lulu as well, to be honest, because right now for back to the game with Xinjiao and with Xante, with the movement speed addition from Karma, they have pretty good chance of getting to the backline of Gripcraft. So you might want to try to remove some more enchanters as well from the backline of Gripcraft. But I like what I see so far from both of the sides. Very interesting identities already starting to kind of shift out a little bit out of those drafts. Still not sure where exactly this karma is going to go. Can very likely be shifted into Sisyph's hands, especially since there is no Seraphine available for this game anymore. They might want to have a double support situation, but with one of them being on the mid lane and the other one still serving as a support.
There's a few ways, right, that it can go with. I'm wondering what's going to be the pickup for mid lane coming for Gripcraft. There's already a poke opportunity, so you can try to pair it up with Korotkiy as... no, actually, Korotkiy is banned, so you can't really do this. In this case, I'm more and more interested. What's going to be mid lane pickup?
I have a suspicion, and I kind of hope I'm wrong, but I have a suspicion it might be Jace on the mid lane for Gripcraft, because if you look at it, they already have the top lane and the jungle who are very heavily AP oriented, so they need some more AD damage on their team. Jace would work here, plus it's additional poke and range for them, as you said.
Exactly, right? Never mind. Jace is not going to be the case. Well, right now, it feels like you can still pivot yourself into something like an Akali. just to get that backlane accents and try to make sure that you save yourself from the idea that, okay, we're not going to be able to reach our enemies in time, right? And that's also a way, to, I guess, to approach it. But they're going to ban Akali themselves.
Okay. So the idea for them is something different. And I'm still not sure what exactly it is, to be honest, especially with the J span. I am genuinely not sure what GRP want to go for. Do they have any crazy idea on their minds? Are we ready for, I don't know, a Yasuo angle from them or anything like that? To be honest, if any crazy angles are going to appear today, it's definitely going to be from this game.
Probably so. Jinx is now going to get locked in. Might be Jinx Karma, might be looking for something different, like a Jinx Nautilus, even, for example. However, GRP have an opportunity to take away that Nautilus right now, if they aren't willing to do so. When it comes to the mid lane, I'm still thinking, oh, there's Nico! Nico isn't banned!
That's true. Do you think this is a Nico? Well, I actually like the idea of Nico paired up with the control from Lula's. It's going to be an AD carry mid lane. So either Varus or Lucian on the mid lane.
We've seen both in the previous
Yeah.
years. I guess that's going to now fall on the shoulders of support to see, because if you go with an Enchanter support, you can try to go with the Lucian. If you go with Nautilus, you can pair it up with the Varus and then go Lucian mid, which is also a way to do it, I suppose. But now it's back to the game. Actually have such a great angle right now. They know everything. They can still flex the Karma if they need to flex it. And if not, right now they can counterpick the AD mid and have fun with it.
They can have Orianna on the mid lane or Nico on the mid lane. Either will work really nicely because Lucian is such a short range that a long range AP carry on mid lane is going to completely bully him for the whole laning phase. So I love this for back to the game much more than I love it for Griptr draft. I don't think that this draft for Griptr is something they should have attempted when being on the blue side, because as you actually said it yourself, you show your cards way too early for the enemy and they can still react with their R5 pick, especially when they haven't still picked their potential mid laner. So now back to the game have found a really good answer to Griptr. They have so much control. God damn it. So much control and sustainability with the shield and the movement speed. This is not looking like an easy game for Griptr.
Not at all. And just one more time shows how great it is to have an opportunity to flex something like that in the draft phase, which is exactly what happened here with that Karma, right? The good thing for Griptr is that right now, with the pickup of Nautilus, I would dare to say that they have both engage and disengage from the fight pretty much handled, right? Because they can start the fight really easily, as well as just run away from it, because you drop down the roots from Maokai and then connect it with the depth charge from Nautilus as well. But back to the game, just in general, their potential of just going into the enemies and dive them and start blasting with their guns back and forth is just ridiculous. Before we go any further into this, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first game of today, as we are in the Summoner's Rift. It is GRP taking on Back to the Game.
I love one other thing for Griptr, and this is the amount of poke they have right now, because with 280 carries on your side, you have the possibility to out-poke the enemy before any fight starts. And you can split the damage between yourselves. One can go lethality, one can go full AD, and it looks like Lucian probably is going to go full AD and Varus lethality, if I were to guess right now, before the game actually starts. And then they can have a good poke against everybody on the enemy team, regardless of whether it's the front lane or the squishy back lane.
We'll have to see how the early game goes even as well, right? Because I guess the way how they're going to try to play this out might have a big influence on the way what they're going to build, especially with the fact that Maokai is starting on the top side. I suppose he's going to rotate towards bot, then try maybe to gank bot. There's theoretically a lot of diving potential when it comes from Griptr, right? With that Nautilus, as soon as you hit level 2, if they're going to try to pretty much go for it as soon as possible, it's going to allow them to have this very good level 2 exchange, or even level 1, actually. You can just throw the anchor as soon as you can. The bad thing is that Jinx is really good at clearing out the waves with her rockets, right? So you have to try to fight for that prio very early on.
And Jinx is fine not trying to go overly aggressive onto you. For back to the game, it's going to be fine for them to survive through the laning phase because Jinx is going to scale heavily as soon as the items start pouring in. So if you don't deny her farm, and if you just let her sit safely on the lane and farm, you're not really doing a good job as her counter pick on the lane.
For now, we're starting relatively slow. A few wards coming here and there. Furby making sure that he's not going to get ganked as soon as possible. Xinjiao, of course. Even if you dash out as quickly as you can, as soon as that spear hits you, there's pretty much no way for you to run either than you just invest the flash to get out of the situation, which is a bit not fun to play against.
Yeah. And he has damage. Boy, he has a lot of damage on the early levels. It's really not advised to meet a wild Xinjiao in your jungle or in the enemy jungle because there is a high chance that he's going to outduel you and to kill you on the spot. So for Maokai right now, it's more important to stay in his own jungle and hope that Shask is not going to invade him. But there is a chance they might meet on the Skull Trap, though. Shask is clearing so much faster that he will, most probably will be there first. And that allows him to shadow his bot lane as well to make sure that Lulas has no approach onto a tower dive angle.
Absolutely. So I also would like to point out that there's a ghost on Salami's side. So he's going to be really fast. He's going to run around, try to look for those angles. I'm also very excited to see how Back to the Game are going to execute the smaller skirmishes, the 2v2s and 3v3s, and then the team fights as well. Right, because depending on what and how do you're going to go for, the 3v3 skirmishes can be very deadly for Korotkiy if Sisyph finds a good angle as soon as he hits level 6, right? Because you knock him up with the Pop Blossom, you root him down, more damage coming from that Nico, plus the Jinx amount of damage that she has as well. That can be... I was sure this W is going to hit him. Where is he?
No, he's in the further bush. He's still in the third bush on the lane, the very furthest one. Unless he has recalled already. I'm not sure anymore because we don't see him. But Back to the Game noticed something is fishy because Shask has actually invaded the enemy's jungle, has put a lot of vision there, and knows that he is not in his jungle.
You could have also seen, never mind, the Anchor's going to hit together with the root and the knockup as well. A brilliant combination. Allows them to take the first bullet. But it was highlighted by the spectators just gracefully. Maybe we're going to see that on the replay as well. Could you see that the small animal from your jungle item stood out from the bush for just a second?
I believe it might actually be just working on from the spectator's point of view, because last time I checked, if you're in the bush, your pet is not going to be visible to the enemy. It kind of stays invisible. Like even if you step into the bush, you can see that your pet loses transparency a little bit. So I believe this only works like that from the spectator's angle. Might be double checked here, but that's what I remember.
You might be right on that one. I'm gonna say this as transparent as I can. I don't know the technicality of it, but then I saw it and I was like, oh, they might be able to see them.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, he waited for a really long time in that bush. He spent a lot of time just fishing for an angle, and to be honest, the patient hunter in the end gets the prize.
Now let's see how the game is going to spin. The dragon is on the map. I think the void grubs has already been taken by Maokai.
Not yet. He might be taking them right now. Yes, exactly.
Yes. So that's 3 of them falling into the hands of Gripshow, setting them up rather nicely for the potential 5-stack, or maybe even 6, depends on how the game's going to go.
Oh, here's the replay with a beautiful flash forward from Dancer, going in very aggressively, but just so much control that there is no way for poor Karma to even get out of that situation. It's pretty much a done deal, and it's lovely that nobody else... No, Lulos also invested a flash, so it's only 1 flash still available on the bot side after this exchange.
Korotkiy feeling rather happy, especially with the Dirk now picked up for himself. Also notice there's the 20 CS gap between him and the Jinx and Salami. Therefore, the laning phase should get a little bit more comfortable. We'll have to see whether they will be able to spin this thing under their control. Dragon, in the meantime, has been taken back to the game, so a standard exchange between the objectives.
Exactly. This seems to be a pretty standard exchange between the sides right now. We most often see blue side going for the void grabs early in the game because it's easier for them to have an access towards the pit, while the red side usually prefers to prioritize both part of the map, and as the result, the first two, at least, dragons of the game. But we'll see how it's going to go about the last two, because that's usually when things start shifting a little bit, because as soon as we leave the normal laning phase from the beginning of the game, everybody starts walking around the map and your position doesn't matter so much anymore in terms of the site selection.
Absolutely. So now just a few exchanges now and there. Furby is going to Eddie set. Doesn't have the teleport, so you'll have to walk in just on his own. I think Sisyph doesn't have the teleport as well. Oh, he's not level 4. Jesus, I was looking at it because he's impersonating himself as Jinx, and I thought, wait, what? Level 4? Nico? What's wrong?
Yes, exactly. That looks a little bit strange whenever Nico impersonates anybody, but she is doing fine on the mid lane. Don't worry about her so much. She has the minions, very nice amount of minions. She has the lane all under her control. She's not pulling out Lucian, unfortunately. That would have been very nice for back to the game to have more control over the mid lane and make sure that this AD carry is not standing a chance of leaving on the lane, but it's still more or less fine so far for back to the game. We only have 1-0 between the teams. Very slight gold lead for Cryptocraft as well.
Yeah, just a tiny little bit. Spotted in that ward. Might just go and invade the enemy jungle and pretty much just be happy about that. Dragon's coming up only in 3 minutes, so there's just loads of times to get a little bit of that prio more to the bot side of the map. Overall, this pace of the game seems quite slow, especially if you compare it with yesterday's games.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, yesterday's games also weren't a full-on bloodbath from the very beginning quite often. They were turning into bloodbath.
Well, yeah, that's
so maybe it's going to happen here today too.
Yeah, perhaps so. I mean, Dancer's already looking for it, but unfortunately he's not aware of the fact that he's standing on a ward. So there's not going to be anything out of that. It looks like we might have a potential skirmish, as 4 members of each team are already here. Dancer will be forced out of that tribush with a bit of damage as well.
Never had the chance to use his sweeper to sweep out the ward, so he was just standing on it until the very end. Wonder if they ever realized what was going on or not. Doesn't matter though. Cryptocraft are still doing fine on the bot lane. You can see it's not just the minion defense right now, it is also the turret plates that Fights is slowly but surely starting to get into his pockets, which means more gold for him. And since in the end it really looks like he's going into the lethality build fires, he will need to get his first item as soon as possible to really start feeling comfortable in the fight with Salami and Sisyph and the Quarter as well.
And the interesting thing you could have noticed is the way Dancer is playing these turret plates, which is interesting enough. Not every support is doing it, especially in an average solo queue game. That's not a very often thing, but supports often just step behind the wall there, right, to still shadow the fact that your AD carry is throwing those plates. But if you're out of the range, then all the gold from that turret plate is going to go directly to you and not get split between the two. Right, so that means they're pouring even more and more money into Fietsky, which was 125 gold from just one turret plate. Exactly what you want to see. Now, with those void grubs picked up as well, and with the amount of push that is already coming through the bot lane now, Fietsky, just as you mentioned, you needed the first item to get there as soon as possible. Already has the Yomus running towards his lane, continues to push. He can get so much value out of these void grubs.
But look at Shask, he's on the top lane. That's going to be a big fight.
Indeed, Equalizer has been used as well. Mietek will flash out. It's going to be a nice walk in the park, but a little bit of damage. Oops, Super Mega. Whoa, never mind.
No.
The shield has been used a bit too late, but it's fine, guys. It's fine.
It's fine. It's okay. It still didn't work, so it's more than fine. Ludlas, though, has the ultimate. Remember that if he wants to help any of the lanes get things accelerated, he is going to use that. But at the same time, there is a Drake coming up in 20 seconds. Very good time for Gertrude to be active around this part of the map.
And the second turret plane coming in through, another 125 gold. Exactly what you want to see for your Varus currently. Not going to be a second one, though. The second one, consecutive one, if you want. Furby and Ludus are around. The prio is now fully in the hands of Gripcho. Seems like they have a full control over the bot side of the map, and they're not afraid to utilize it as much as they can. Back to the game, fishing for some answers, but yet to find it.
Exactly. And for back to the game, they need any answer because even though it is still 1-0 between the teams, they're starting to lose.
A
Order?
little bit of a fight. Flash has been used a little bit preemptively, but Dancer slowly but surely dying. Another arrow, almost killing Salami in the process. Not gonna die. Shasky is on the chase. Super Mega Death Rocket gonna be tanked by Fietsky. Fietsky flashes out immediately. Shasky with a follow-up. Another hook is going to try to connect with the ultimate coming from Maokai to disengage from this fight. Might happen even more, a bit more damage coming from Fietsky from the downtown. Furby flashes away from Scissors. The action is everywhere around the map, but not even a single death in the span of these 30 seconds.
Nope, we're still going 1-0, though a lot of flashes have been burned everywhere, especially on the bot lane. And honestly, the fact that GRP's bot lane still had the flashes when they decided to go aggressive on back to the game and things went a little bit wrong for them. This fact saved them very nicely, and also the fact that Lulus was still around because it was Dragon time and he was hoping that, you know, guys, it's time to do an objective. But guys were like, no, we're going to try to go for a kill and die in the process, which actually gives back to the game a surprising advantage because they were very close to losing the second Drake of the game. But now, because of how things have shifted, because GRP had to retreat and recall right after the fight, they managed to get the second Drake of the game.
And also, amazing game awareness coming from the side of Fietsky, because as soon as he saw the rocket, he knew that if he's not going to sidestep it, the collateral damage from that rocket most likely will finish Dancer off.
Yeah.
So yeah, he put himself in a closer proximity to that Xin Zhao, but as you rightfully mentioned, the flash that he had on himself saved both him and Dancer with that sidestep. So great awareness coming from the bot side of GRP. Great approach to the game as well. Even more gold is now going to be poured into this Varus, and I'm not sure, but it feels like the majority of that, not even majority, probably even the entire gold lead sits almost solemnly in the hands of Fietsky in this game.
Quite possibly. He has the kill, he has the gold, he has the turret, the first turret of the game as well. Yes, he's in a very good position, and I can't wait to see the gold stats between the lanes. Yeah, I mean that is not the best impersonation of a minion there is Sisyph. I think Furby can count the wave, especially if it looks like that.
In the meantime, the Herald has spawned, and GRP are going to see this, so they can react since the Scuttle is there. 5 men strong they are, though, over here. Lewis is going to spot out... That's not Sisyph, that's his clone, however. And back to the game, are they bold enough to try to go for this? Both AD carries now are walking towards the pit.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that because Lulas has an ultimate, but also Sisyph has the Pop Blossom available. If GRP collapse, they can be caught in there with the ultimate from Nico.
Okay, on to Shax now. The fight started. GRP might be looking for more. Dancer hops over the wall with the Hex Flash, but found himself in a bit of a targeted situation. Uses the Pop to try to get out with the Bob Blossom onto 3 now. Great flash coming from Nico, but a lot of damage coming from Furby as well. Lulis is going to finish him off as Illusion continues to fight out. Lulis has to flash out, might have to just go in because there's no way out of this. Back to the game. Caught GRP on a mistake that costed them so much in this game.
GRP have to be really careful about where they choose to fight because every time when Sisyph has the Pop Blossom available and every time when the enemies are in a choke point in the jungle or like that even on the river, he is going to go in, and if he hits 3 members like he just did, this is pretty much a fight immediately won for his team. If he hits even more, well, that's an easier one. But really, GRP are looking super aggressively here considering they have 0 vision in this part of the enemy's jungle. They don't know how far they can afford to go, they don't know where and how they can disengage, and that's why the disengage never actually happens for them because they get caught in the midst of it.
The setup was perfect. The flash ult is just too great of a combo when it comes to Nico. As if utilizing it to the best. That also granted a kill to Salami, who's going to get himself a Kraken Slayer, and I believe the boots. Yeah, looking at the goal difference, 1.6 is the difference between the bot laners, and I think it's fair to say that it is being felt in the game.
Very much so, yes, because Fietsky, pretty much everybody else is either sitting on the first item already or finishing their first item. Interestingly enough, Lulas, the Maokai of GRP, has built himself the Frozen Heart, but Fietsky the Varus is sitting on 2 items already. The lethality is there for that guy, the damage is there for that guy. Back to the game, have to be careful about Fietsky. They need to focus him on the fights.
Mid lane turret getting pushed a little bit. Not going to fall down just yet, but enough damage has been caused, especially with Kaspersky sniping them with arrows from downtown. Literally trying to become the Legolas of this game. Works quite splendidly for him in the meantime. Just be careful not to start shouting, they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. Roots, together with an equalizer. Onto a few people. They managed to bring down the turret even before the teleport happens. But no, Mietek is going to score the first kill. And here comes the Xante. The Roots again with the unstoppability with an all-out. Tries to get himself into safety. Keeps jumping around. Depth charge is still chasing him. Hook might be connected in just a few seconds. Flashes over the wall. And the Hook coming in there too. Just brings them so much more control and a few more kills. The second one for Varus. The first one for Mietek in this exchange.
The only note I have is that Cozy actually did not have a flash, which might be a problem for him and might be a bigger problem as we go later on. He jumped with a pop blossom, but he's only sitting on a ghost in the teleport. He doesn't have any flash, and in situations like that, it's way too easy for Gripchikov to catch him because he is not too good of a front lane just yet.
Mietek might have overstepped here a little bit. Flashes over the wall. Shasku might have been on the chase, but no. Here comes the culling, gonna do a little bit of damage. Lulas, here comes the mega super death rocket something. A lot of things happening at the same time. But no continuation of it whatsoever. Lulas is just gonna jump around and hop. No kills again.
Well, back to the game at least got Herald Spunk into the inner turret and the top lane for Gripchikov, which puts them in a situation where they can try to go and push a little bit further through the top lane, but top lane is not where their eyes have to be right now because they have 2 dragons. Ideally, they would like to go for 4 dragons. The Ocean Soul together with Karma on their side is going to be a really big asset for the fights. The problem is, as you can see right now, it's hard for them to get to the river when Gripchikov are already there.
Well, yes, they are forcing Gripchikov out. They know that the choke point is going to be hard to fight against. Back to the game's composition. The Roots coming in through, trying to buy themselves time. Shasku in the midst of it all. Here comes the pop. And the equalizer has been dropped as well. Goes absolutely wide down. In the meantime, takes so much damage from the upcoming. Mietek here as well with the pop blossom onto 2. Fayetsky's being targeted with the lots of Roots. Doesn't have any mana. They have to run. This is a bad fight for Gripcho as they just fall apart. Solari is on the chase. Well able to catch up together with the Ghost. It's a triple for the Jinx as Lulas is going to try to knock a few enemies back and forth, but there's nothing he can do. It's a clean, almost a clean ace for back to the game.
It could have been a quadra for Salami, but his super mega death rocket missed just by like 2 Teemos max there in the jungle. Very sad, but still Salami shouldn't be upset whatsoever, and we shouldn't be either, because it's a triple kill for Jinx and overall a really good fight for back to the game, which gives him an opportunity to go for this dragon now, because it hasn't been killed. It has been reset while at very low health, and you can see Shask dancing around here, trying to find a moment to go for the Drake, but the moment it's reset, he is pretty much dead immediately. Another very good pop blossom from Nico. Really, this is the fight setter for back to the game right now, and whenever this pop blossom hits the enemies, you can see how it acts as a trigger for everybody else to just go in and start getting those kills.
The important thing though is, as you could have seen in the second fight in a row, it was Flash on Sisyph's side that allowed him to hit that pop blossom.
That's
right?
true.
So I think for Gripchikov right now, the important thing would be just lay back a little bit and try before every single big fight, especially in a bit of a narrow space like the river. Instead of trying to force a fight or buy yourself time with the ultimate, try to force the flash out of Nika. As soon as that happens, you have much more cards to play with in your hands.
Oh,
or maybe
Lulas.
not. Lulas might be caught in there, but no.
No, he's still alive, he's still fine, even though he's very low on health. And to be fair, Sisyph is sitting on a Hextech Rocket Belt right now, which means he has this additional possibility to relocate himself very quickly if the flash is not available for him, so I wouldn't be sure if it's going to save Gripchikov to get it out of him.
Oh, let's see, as there's going to be a second attempt. Dragon is yet to be slain. Was started by Gripcho. Lulas, though, considerably low. Mietek dropping down the equalizer, doing a lot of damage in the process. 4,000 HP on that dragon. Here come the Roots as well, onto both Xante and Salami. Xante is going to tank it. Dancer firing around. Furby with the culling as well, looking to try to maybe steal the Drake. The save is still not falling down. Knock up onto Furby. A lot of damage thanks to Fetsky, and they're going to finish him off. Now back to the game, realizing they can't fight anymore. Snipe from the downtown. That means the second kill for Varus. The dragon's going down as well, and Xante is just going to be taken apart. Take away the flash, we win the fight, say Gripcho.
It worked indeed. I have to admit, no flash on Nico actually paid out super nicely for them. I was a little bit surprised to see such a low damage output from Furby onto Xante. It's like Xante didn't feel it, but to be fair, it's very much in the nature of Xante. But right now, Cryptocraft are taking the Baron. Miedek, you have no vision there!
That's all. He's going to get a few shots now and there. Dodges the W and even goes away. Oh, Baron is going to finish him off, is he? No. Okay, he's still fine.
No.
Still stays though, has a few honey fruits. He's going to chomp on them. Baron's being slain. A very risky move, but it paid off.
For sure, yes, for sure. Nobody is going to follow them, so they're not even going to be punished for doing that. That is suspicious. Back to the game, need to do something urgently on the map. They need to get rid... Oh, okay, they did already. Salami got rid of the outer turret on the mid lane, so it's giving them at least some time to prepare for the incoming siege with the Baron buff. They also need to clear out the top lane urgently, because this is looking like a potential split push angle for Cryptocraft.
Might be indeed, but there's another thing that I would like to point your attention to. Now, Sisyph, I think, no, he's on the top lane. When there's two Jinxes on board, I can't know which one is recalling.
Yeah, exactly.
But as soon as Sisyph is going to reset, notice that he's got the two rods, which means that he's going to that Rabadon's cap, right? And as soon as he's going to have his flash again, then this fight might go absolutely sideways, because we've seen the damage output coming from the Pop Blossom and then the rest of the burst coming from that Nico. It might be a whole different situation within the next fight.
Speaking of...
Roots coming in through together with the culling. They're trying to dictate it. It's just so much to deal with. As Xin Zhao now in the midst of it all. Kozi has arrived on the teleport with the Super Mega Death Rocket as well. Another teleport coming in through. Mietek is now going to join the fight. Xante is alone fighting Fietsky, but they're not going to finish him off. Xin Zhao is burning. So does Salami. And that's a lot of damage from that flamethrower. Chasky is trying to hide beneath the turret. Might even able to do so because Fietsky is not with the rest of the team, so there's no opportunities to snipe. Furby's still here, denying that recall Accorda, trying to get out with the flash, but it's way too little too late, and Fietsky with the snipe. In the meantime, Accorda falls. It's an ace, and a clean one for Cryptocraft.
Finally, a clean ace. We're waiting for it in the previous fight, but finally it happened in this one. Very nicely played by Cryptocraft, and I love that they realized so quickly that Sisyph actually is the... pretty much the only target for them in any team fight whatsoever to come, and they force him out of the fight. They don't just force the flash out of the guy, they force the guy out of the fight. He even used his Pop Blossom there on the top lane, though to be fair, the cooldown is going to come back super quickly for him. That was a clean fight from Cryptocraft. They didn't get too much from it, but at least they managed to go through that very top lane, and now they can breathe out a little bit, have some very important items flowing in, because I'm looking at that Rift Maker on Mietek. It's going to be massive in the upcoming fights, and Crypto can continue pushing. But here, it looks like they're pouring so many resources onto Sisyph, but it's because they really want to be sure that they're taking one of the enemies down. And after, when the fight comes, it's already unfair, because it's going to be a 5-on-4 because of this teleport coming in from Mietek.
It feels like now there's a different approach coming from both Crypto and perhaps from Back to the Game as well, right? Because you can see how much resources are they going to try to pour into bringing Fietsky down in these fights, right? And it's pretty much justifiable. Or look at the Varus. 3 items completed together with the boots, 614, 212 CS, which is the highest counter of CS currently in the game. So if there's going to be more resources poured in trying to bring him down, maybe we're going to see another outcome. And flash forward with the Bob Blossom. Exactly, it just works. Fietsky's still alive though, rooted down, not dead, still all out, and now Xante finishes the job. Might be an opening from Back to the Game. Chasky being killed in the process because of that equalizer in the choke point. It's a trade 1 for 2, not the best for Back to the Game, but the mid lane turret has been saved.
It was such... Yeah, the bot lane, but it was such a good Pop Blossom, and it wasn't enough for Back to the Game. They're really falling behind so hard right now. There is a 7k difference between the team, or 6, 7, I can count, but a quarter. You might make it bigger now.
It's now 7,000 almost.
It's now 7. Okay, thank you very much, a quarter. You helped me with my math skills.
Appreciate the math help.
Yeah, thank you very much for the coverage there, mate. Appreciate it. But if you're Back to the Game fan right now, you're not very happy about whatever is happening, because they're losing the control of the game. And the only thing that seems to always work for them, which is their very good vision on the map, has been failing them as well. They don't have good understanding of how Cryptocraft are moving around the map anymore, and that allows them to be everywhere on the map, including the Drake right now that they're taking.
soul point is nowhere near for Gripcho or back to the game. Only the second dragon goes to the Gripcho craft, and pretty much only 2 dragons back to the game are sitting on as well. However, the control that you've been talking about, the amount of gold lead, Furby though might be in a bit of trouble because he is here. Maybe they're looking for it. Oh, the rest of Gripcho craft is here as well though.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. He's getting ready.
I'm
He's
not.
hunting.
Yes, indeed. Roots coming in through. They don't know that Cozy's around. Maybe they're waiting for
don't know.
Fietsky, and I feel
Oh,
like
they
they
are.
do. Okay, maybe not. The fight started, and here we go. Cozy now onto Furby, trying to finish him off. Can he do it? No, he cannot. A bit of a risky move. Dancer might be taken down in the process, and yes, he will. Salami picks up that kill. It's 1 for 1. It was a plan, but it wasn't the Avengers initiative.
I have questions to this plan, but it's okay. At least it looked cool, right? With Cozy just standing there in the bush and waiting for an opportunity. The opportunity kind of was there, but he went for it. It feels like he went for it a little bit too late. We'll see that in the replay. He got a flash out of Furby, so now if they want to do something like that again, or for example, if Wild Nico appears suddenly in front of Furby, he's going to have very little chance of escaping that anymore. But it was important for them to take Furby out, but trying to send Cozy almost alone onto Furby, when look at items that Furby has in the inventory. The Kraken Slayer, the Navori, and the LDR. He's cutting through the Xante finally, like a knife through butter.
Wild Nico appears, uses a flash and Pop Blossom. It's super effective.
Refuses to elaborate further, dies.
Yeah, well, you know. It's the super effectiveness that matters.
Yeah.
The Baron is up on the map, back at it. And we might see both of the teams trying to go for a fight for it. We see that both of the teams pretty much adjusted their game strategy coming into the 28th minute of this game. However, this Varus is not getting weaker. Neither does this Lucian. Both of these guys are hitting like a truck. You can look at Salami's health bar. That was just 1 hour arrow.
Ouch. It's very ouch. Salami, to be fair, also hits like a truck right now. But he needs to get to the enemies, and this might prove a little bit hard because his front line seems to die. Oh, Sisyph! Look at Sisyph! He's going in!
Yes, indeed, with the double Pop Blossom, not exactly the targets you want to look for. Sisyph dies almost immediately, and the rest of the fight just crumbles. They can't participate in it. But Gripchikov say, yeah, never mind, we're gonna have one. Chasku flashes out. Another arrow from downtown, might be looking for more shutdown in the meantime onto Rumble, but no, Dancer picks up that kill. Chasku's still alive, trying to recall before Lulis is going to be able to reach him. But look at the base! It's been run down!
Oh yes, you have to recall right now, but you're not going to because Lulas is not letting you recall. He is not going to be able to go back and defend his base anymore. They're having a fun fight, to be honest. It's a little bit of a brawl, but does it even matter?
No, it doesn't. And a kill has been scored. Now Gripcho continuing their onslaught. 5 seconds more onto Sisyph. 15 more on Salami. It's the question of whether they can try and defend the base from the enemies, or whether the enemies are just going to stop there. Looks like they're going to retreat, not even take that inhibitor, respecting the power coming from back to the game.
Well, it's an open inhibitor still, so that's what matters. They can go back when they have the Baron. And surprise, what a coincidence, the Baron is actually live on the map. To be fair, another thing that is live on the map is the objective bounty. So if back to the game start taking objectives somehow, they're going to have a very nice influx of money back into their pockets. If they also start taking Gripchicraft in the process, it's going to be additional money because they also have champion bounties on their heads. But it's going to be very hard because back to the game realize the Gripchicraft's objective right now is that Baron or a very good fight with back to the game. A clean ace will mean game over.
Pretty much so. Don't forget, the difference between the two teams is 9,000 gold, which is a bit hard to work with. Sisyph, yes, pretends to be a ward as the Baron has been started. He's gonna get spotted out.
But he's still a ward. Look at that.
He's still a ward, yeah, that's true.
Amazing.
Order takes a little bit from that arrow. Gripcho setting up a potential turnaround. Not looking to reset the Baron, however. Sisyph pretending now to be Xinjiao. Cozy now in the midst of it all. Goes into Dancer. Xinjiao dancing. Chasku now shows himself up. The Baron fight is on. Furby with the culling. Trying to go for more. Fietsky gets 1, gets 2. And now the blue team has slain the Nasher. And Sisyph didn't find the flank that he needed. Slamy firing away. Look at the damage of the arrows. Hook connected. Killed. Another kill for Fietsky. It is 12-6 Varus with the Baron buff. All too easy. Gripchicraft are going to score themselves the second win Just few turrets.
They also scored the second triple kill for Fetsky, by the way, in that very last fight. What a beautiful way to end this game for them, which means they're putting back to the game onto the 0-4 loss streak. And Cryptocraft are recovering. They're going to finish the second week with 2-2 as their score. That's going to be a beautiful pop blossom, if only it wasn't a little bit too little too late.
Also, Dancer overstood just
We
a
don't
bit.
talk about it. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's the end of the game.
I mean, turret executes him. Okay, the fountain executes him.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
not even a
It
kill.
should be all right.
Yeah.
Well, in a pretty convincing fashion. But Gripshercraft are taking this game, and I have to see more and more. I look how they are doing it, more and more I am getting impressed by the team. However, the interview seems to be already here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Xibaresh joining us in a virtual studio. Hello, mate. How are you doing? Walk us through the game.
Hello, great to see you. I mean, the games for me are always stressful, so mostly I am like trying to not look at them if I can. So this time I took a shower and I just, here I am, freshly out of the shower, clean, and and the game is won, so I'm really happy.
You're clean and you're with a win, so that's the perfect combination. But okay, since you didn't watch the game, I'm going to ask you about the previous week, if you don't mind, because the previous week wasn't the best one for Gripshercraft. You went 0-2 there, but suddenly you started recovering this week. What changed between week 1 and week 2?
It's a really hard question because I don't believe that there is a thing that you can point. I don't think it's about changing. It's just everything is just a process. So saying that we change so much between week 1 and week 2 is it's not really 100% true. I believe that if you only play 2 games each week, then even though you might feel like you're doing okay, you might lose, and if you feel like you're doing bad, then you might still win. So it's really hard to track those things week to week. I believe that, of course, after week 1, we changed the way we structure our training, but I'm not exactly sure. The goal is still before us, and we're still gonna improve. And each week is just a little bit different.
Gzibaresh, I'm going to take the attention more towards the coaching part of the team, because for clarification, for those of you who don't know, you are a performance coach for the team. Correct me if I'm wrong, but for the viewers at home who might not be particularly acquainted with the term, can you please explain what is actually your part of the job when it comes to coaching your players?
Oh, of course. I mean, this question is always, I love to explain the answer because it's always a bit different, right? But the base of the performance coaching is always like that. In each game, there is people playing the games, and performance coach is the guy that does the things with people side. So they are not necessarily game related, but they are still like somewhat related. So if you're feeling anxious about the game, if you're too anxious, your hands will start shaking. You might not go into the communication. So it's all that's connected to the person, human side of of player.
Um, Actually, speaking of the human side of players, because in Cryptocraft we have some players who are more experienced, like Ludas, for example, who is bringing in the analysis experience and more, and we have some players for whom this season is the first one in Division 1. And I want to focus on those players a little bit more. How are they faring playing on the big scene for the first time?
I mean, I honestly just reminded myself that some of them are rookies, but it's not something that you see from the inside. I believe that especially Mietek is someone that brings absolutely immense value when it comes to like looking at the game. Like even though he's rookie, he like it's an opportunity for him to have this different view of the game. So each week, every review, he brings this like new perspective, and it's always fresh, and it's like it keeps us from being stale with our like one view of viewing the game, and this way like we always have like higher level of discussion about the way we want to play.
Um, My question is going to be, I guess, a bit wider in a sense of how to approach to it. But basically, right now you are sitting in a situation where you're 2-2. You have started to slowly build up the momentum needed in order to potentially contest the top 4 spot. So when it comes to the morale of the team, when you're comparing to the overall way, how are you going to approach the fights from some other teams as well? How do the guys are feeling?
Oh, I believe that thinking about claiming top 4 spot is like it's too much. Let's just think about week 3. And for week 3 we need to like figure stuff out. Okay, so week 1 we lost, week 2 we win. So what do we do now? I believe that it's a hard question for me, and we're gonna be just collecting the data from each player. What do they think? And then we're slowly gonna form our plan to week 3, and then to week 4, and then to week 5, and in the end we're gonna hopefully end in the playoffs in the hopefully the highest spot.
I love your approach so much. Krzywasz, it is incredible to have you on interview here with us because you're bringing a very new and a very exciting perspective. Thank you so much for joining us. But we have a tradition here, as you might know. Right now is your time. If you have any greeting or shout out to give, maybe in your native language, you can do so right now.
Yeah, thank you for having me, of course, and I want to dać pozdrowienie dla całego Discorda analityków. Dzięki, że jesteście ze mną, naprawdę wasze wsparcie jest nieocenione. Dzięki wielkie.
Thank you so much once again, and congratulations with the victory in a very good week. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Dziękujemy bardzo.
Dziękujemy bardzo. That's so nice to have him on the interviews. I love it when we have more of the staff view onto the games, from like coaches and analysts and everybody else. That's always so refreshing, right?
I am very excited to see someone approach the game from the personal side of things. Because I feel like we don't talk about it enough when it comes to the human factor and when it comes to the nerves and the psychology of the players. And when we have an actual performance coach who's just actually working with the human factor, it's very much incredible. Hopefully we're going to see Group win more games and have an opportunity to talk with Ksybelish. But for now, we have to take a very quick break. When we are back, we are going to see a human factor of a game. It is match of the week. Anonymo versus Forsaken. Ladies and gentlemen, don't run anywhere. We are going to be back very soon.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to game number 2. It is Orbit Anonymo versus Forsaken, the match of the week. In case you are confused, why is this game a match of the week? Well, let us be very clear on the matter. There is an official statement being put out by both Ultraliga and Ultraliga English official Twitter account, which states that today's game of Iron Wolves versus Devils.one have been cancelled and Iron Wolves have forfeited the match. To refer to further information, please go ahead and check the official statement. So we are transitioning to the Orbit Anonymo versus Forsaken as our match of the week. And with all honesty, I know that below me, right here, right there below me, you can see that I have picked Orbit Anonymo as my prediction. Now, I was contemplating. I'm not going to lie. I was contemplating for a really long time. I was staring at this prediction for about 10 minutes, and I was thinking whether I am going to put a Forsaken there or not. And let me tell you why.
Yeah, please.
First of all, top side of the map, because it is very fair to, yeah. Can somebody please put some, some classical music on top?
Yes. So the top side of the map, you say, DrBrilmann?
It's a part. It's an episode of Downton Abbey. Okay, it's an episode of Downton Abbey. So listen to me, darling. Listen to me, darling. So of course, when we talk about the port side on the map, right? It's Neremy who's there. It's really hard to do something about him. That is definitely true. However, let's refer to the top side of the map, and you're going to see, with all honesty, what you're going to see is that Ariana has been making an exceptional progress. And in the previous game that we saw yesterday, Ariana was one of the top stars of this game with that Akali pick. Now, Rafbin as well, I am genuinely interested to see if we're going to get an Alisia, which I think should get a lot of priority from Orbit Anonymo. But then if you are as Forsaken, decide, okay, let's play weak side bot. Let's just put all of our resources into the top side of the map, shut down Prime, give Ariana something like, you guessed it, an Akali, something like this that will be, with the help of Rafbin, able to very quickly get to the backline of the enemies and kill Neriman. You might got yourself a game plan here.
Now 2 points from me on that matter. First of all, I absolutely loved Ariana's play on Akali because if you remember, Ariana has transitioned at some point from the mid lane to the top lane, so it felt like a little bit, going back to the roots of the guy, going back to his mid lane picks. And when he just transitioned, we have this question on mind actually here in Ultraliga, whether or not he's going to bring those mid lane picks to the top lane. And from time to time, he does so to make us, of course, very happy. But at the same time, the thing that worries me a little bit is that, yes, yesterday he was the star, but the moment the Zero Tenacity realized what was going on and they found a way to zone him away from the fight, they immediately started winning, and that's how they won the whole game. What if the same thing happens today? Because if Zero Tenacity figured something out about Forsaken, then chances are Orbit Anonymo are going to do the same thing. If there is a plan for Forsaken, most probably Orbit Anonymo are going to crack it.
Definitely, right? It's a valid point to make, and I'm not in no position of saying that Forsaken are genuinely winning, like seriously 100% they're winning this match, conversation over. Definitely not. But coming with the overall of development that I see from Forsaken's squad, I am more and more starting to believe that we are yet to see more from these guys to showcase to us. And let's see if that's going to be the truth, because I see Orbit Anonymo paying a lot of respect towards Forsaken as they take away Senna as their very first ban.
Yeah, the Semetam Kench incident from yesterday is not going to repeat in this game, at least. I wonder if the third ban from Orbit Anonymo is going to be the one you mentioned, if it's going to be Azure, but no. They decide to ban out Nocturne, which means that Afroboy most likely is going to be playing on something a little bit more defensive. I believe yesterday on the interview he was talking about the Vibe pick that is the best one for the rest of the team, so that most likely is going to be the case. For sure, no Xinjiao, no Corgi for mid lane for Roizen, and no Kalista for the bot lane. Forsaken have a plan, but I feel like the plan starts with V and ends with Arus.
Yeah, you basically just taking the words out of my mouth in this one in terms of I'm pretty sure that we're going to see a fight for the Varus.
Is that Seraphine for Royson? Please tell me it's Seraphine for Royson. Please tell me
It's very much just maybe, and I'm not going to be surprised to see if it is the case because he's been playing in that champion quite a lot previously as well.
And if you remember, in all the recent games, even the beginning of the season, people have been banning Seraphine against Anonymo because of that guy.
But Rumble is now being for the taking. Nox and Zhao know there's Vi that you can take away from Afroboy right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if you would be interested to do that because Afroboy mentioned it yesterday on the broadcast when we had on the interview. The Vi duty is pretty much real now for the junglers.
Yeah.
But no, Forsaken rather. They decided Emilio hasn't been banned, let's pick him up and then find what we want to do with it later.
Because so many carries can work with him. He turns any hyper carry into a hyper carry. So whatever they decide to go for is going to work for them. For Orbit Anonymo, what else are they going to build up? Because they will need some really good top lane to sustain that Rumble. But I love what they're going with right now, taking a comfort pick for Nermid and taking away the Aphelios Milio possibility for Forsaken at the same time.
There's still Nautilus. There's still a few things you can pick up. Okay, Prime and Aatrox. A good answer into the Rumble. We're going to make sure that the laning phase will be just a little bit more stable. But the question of junglers is still up in the air. Neither of the teams have picked it up. You can either go for an AD carry right now, and by the looks of that's going to happen, although we've seen Lucian to be already flexed to the mid.
Yeah.
So can you say it's a potential flex?
You can, but I would say with Millie on the board already, chances are like tiny.
They're very tiny, aren't they? Now, let's see what the second rotation of bans is going to bring us, because that might be the exact moment when we realize what's going on. Blitzcrank being banned away on one of the strongest supports currently on the patch 14.1b when it comes to the hooking, engaging, punching you in the face supports.
Yeah, to be fair, and just in general, they don't want to have anything that is going to Milio is going to be absolutely useless against, because what can you do is Blitzcrank hooks. You don't have any time to throw your Q in there. There is no engage you can actually stop. So a good ban from them. I like it. The Tristana ban from Orbit Anonymo tells us that they don't think that this solution is going to the mid lane, but I really wonder that Azure is finally going to make it through the bans into more bans.
Vi now taken away. So with the fact that Orbit Anonymo have not taken it, they decide, okay, you're not going to take it in any case, shape, or form. A lot of different junglers already banned out. There's a few still left, like a Lilia, like a Lee Sin. So you can still look for a way. Lilia might be the choice for Forsaken, since we've got the AD mid, sorry. No, we actually don't have an AD mid. This solution is not going to the mid lane. I'm still confusing with the previous game. I
mean, there is still like a tiny chance, but most likely no.
There's Lilia, there's Lee Sin. Or you open up with the mid lane. Azir is on the table. If you take it, you can try to look for a lot of different ways of playing it. And that Seraphine, it could be flexed to Chipsy and then answered with an Akali into Azir. Theoretically.
Quite possibly. But yeah, they want to show their cards too early. So it's going to be J4 for Forsaken. An interesting choice. I quite like it, but I don't think it's going to be super efficient if there is more front lane added to Orbit Anonymo. I'm not sure if this Viego is going to happen. It doesn't seem very likely. I've heard things about Viego that he's really not feeling well in the jungle these days.
Still being played a lot. Like, if you refer even to LAC, one of the most favorite champions of Yike. It is pretty much fair to say.
Yeah. That's true. That doesn't make me very happy, to be honest.
Potentially, but no.
No. It's
Elveth is the other option that you can go for.
I know from my insider information that Afroboy loves playing on Kindred quite a lot. But unfortunately, in this situation, it's not going to be a Kindred angle. But Viego is going to be the angle. I am excited to see how Orbit Anonymo are going to pilot him here, because again, I have heard that people are very unhappy with Viego right now, but quite possibly it's going to be the answer for Orbit Anonymo if they want to have a lot of good exchanges and skirmishes early in the game.
And the last pick is now in the hands of Forsaken. Azir.
Surprise us!
I mean, it sounds like an obvious pick. It is an obvious pick. And with that, the drafts are being locked. Honestly, a very interesting way this whole exchange have went. I see the Milio Azir.
No. They're going to. Don't worry. Or should we worry? No, of course we shouldn't worry. God damn it. No, that would be. What would Izor do on the bot lane?
I don't know.
He doesn't want to share experience because he's a hyperscaler. Not hyperscaler, but just a scaler in general. He wants to stay alone in his lane and feel very safe there because he has the soldiers. And even though Seraphine has the range, Izor has his own, so there he's going to be completely fine.
That would be so weird if that would have happened.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready for anything. Okay, I'm there to be
Fine.
surprised, but you know, it would be very interesting. How the things would have collided. Okay, with the draft talking, I have to say I am positively curious about everything because both teams went a bit different routes. I feel like when it comes to the overall how we've seen the teams play for the past 3 days, a few surprises now and there, and I am quite curious how these both compositions are going to prove themselves in the Rift.
Same for me, to be honest, because this is an interesting draft overall. I think when it comes to just pure team fight potential, I still prefer Orbit Anonymous draft much more. And this is not biased by the fact that Orbit Anonymous just as a team are really good team fighters. It's just, purely if you removed the nameplates and looked at the draft, really the composition for Orbit Anonymous screams that they want to be fighting on their own terms because they have great tools of controlling the enemy, great tools for resetting if the fight starts going well for them. And of course, the encore from Seraphine is just going to be a trendsetter for them.
And the fact that Diego is able to fish for some really good reasons in those fights also brings a little bit of that concern, right? Because you can turn into Emilio, you can turn into Lucian, you can turn into Rumble, and you can turn into Jarvan the Fourth if you need a little bit more of that additional control, right? Yeah, it's not going to be the cataclysm, of course, but it is going to be the standard that is going to knock people up in the air. And more control you have, the happier you're in this fight.
Yeah.
When I look at the Forsaken side, I am curious to see how the top side is going to work again, because Lucian Milio pretty much in the meta right now. Theoretically, things can go any way really, but Milio and Lucian are just going to be fine-ish.
Should be fine-ish, exactly.
But when it comes to that top side, that's when my question arises: how we will see Jarvan the Fourth set up his top lane, and we will see that setup. We will see the transition go into okay, shut down Nerriman at all costs. As soon as I hit level 6, we just dive them. Right? How is this pathing from Forsaken is going to go in this game?
I would actually not be surprised if that happens in the game, if they're going to prioritize the top lane heavily, because with Rumble, they have a very decent chance of trying to shut Prime down, because in the early game for Aatrox, it's going to be quite hard to withstand the damage from Rumble, and especially the range from Rumble. That's going to be not the easiest lane, and if you add G4 to the mix, I think they can fish for some really good angles there. However, it's important that they don't forget about the other parts of the map in the meantime, because over-focusing on top lane means leaving Nerriman alone on the bot lane, and for Nerriman, it's going to be fine. He's Aphelios. He doesn't want to be fighting on the lane. He's fine just sitting back and scaling and waiting for the items, and you cannot afford for this to happen.
Absolutely. We know what Aphelios is capable of doing in team fights, and when there is setup for that Aphelios, again, pretty much delivered by Roizen in a specific situation. It could be delivered by Nautilus as well, but that Encore can set up such a great combination of ultimates that you just have to pick your poison. In do you want to propel Ariana, or do you want to just make sure that this Aphelios doesn't get to play that game of League of Legends today? For those of you who are wondering, we are expecting some technical problems at the player side, so we are waiting for the game to begin.
Exactly that. We're still waiting, but while we're waiting, we can, of course, theorize a little bit more about how this matchup is going to look like. But I have a feeling that after seeing the first peaks from the side of Forsaken, Orbit Anonymous really decided to kind of put top lane into a little bit more of a weaker side position, because Aatrox is fine to wait. At the same time, they have No, you know what? That worries me a little bit the more I think about it. They have to have a strong side somewhere. Of course, their jungle is always going to be a strong side because Afroboy is very proactive and aggressive, and Viego wants to be looking for those early exchanges as much as possible, and he wants to be ganking. But who exactly is he going to gank? Which exactly lane is he going to try to speed up? It's something I'm a little bit confused about.
The thing is, when I look at the bot lane, I am looking at it with, again, a lot of question mark pinks in my eyes, because
Yeah.
we know it as Emilio into Nautilus works rather well because of the fact that you can knock him away whenever
Mhm.
he's going for the hook, right? And if you time that correctly, then you can pretty much stop the enemy from engaging you. However, it's still going to give Aphelios time to start damaging you. And as soon as Afrobo is going to show up, there's the 3 targets that you have to worry about. So what we could see is a lot of attention just being poured into the bot lane, making sure that Neramin is having as comfortable game as possible. And we know these things happen, right? We know it from, again, Afroboys himself, who's claimed it here on the interviews. And we've seen this in the game yesterday, despite the fact that the jungle matchup went horribly for Afroboy since he got shut down early by Cozy when he was playing Udyr. It was Neramin who was stepping up every single time. And in these fights, when he was playing Lucian, he just showed us that, yeah, it's fine, guys. I'll carry.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing is that everybody else in the team needs to sort of act as the Uber drivers for Neremi, because they need to deliver him safely from the beginning of the game through the struggles of the early game to the point in the game where he finally scales and starts out damaging and killing everybody on the spot. Because you know that this last point is going to happen. Question is how fast you can get there.
Anonymous Orbit Uber is awaiting for you.
Anonymous
Orbit
Uber sounds a little bit
Anonymous.
scary. I know, but it still sounds kind of.
Imagine there's just a pack of gums as driver, since Orbit, the gums, the chewing gums. So a car parks, the window rolls down, and there's a pack of chewing gums with hands and legs just sitting there by the steering wheel with the glasses on, the sunglasses.
I would not get in the car.
Why not?
With
It's a
all due
chewing
respect
gum.
to I like chewing gum, but maybe not as a driver.
What if it had the taste of a melon?
Surprisingly, I'm not a fan. I know. I'm sorry.
Okay, what is the best flavor for Orbit then?
The kids' bubblegum with the bubblegum.
Ah,
Yeah,
going with the old
superior
school
one.
way.
Exactly. Old habits never go away. Old tastes also stay.
Interestingly enough, my old habit was actually the melon one. That's why I like it till
Really?
this very day. Yeah,
Hmm.
or the Hubba Bubbas ones with the contemporary, not contemporary, sorry,
The
the
temporary
tattoos.
tattoo.
The
Yeah.
temporary
Well, they were
tattoos.
quite contemporary, to be honest. They were cool.
Yeah, they were pretty cool.
But also the Orbit ones, they were like, super mint, like mint fresh or something. They were like,
Yes.
ugh,
The blue
immediate kick.
ones. The blue ones.
Yeah, the blue ones.
You can breathe instead of be a fire dragon. You're
You're an ice dragon, exactly.
Just breathing ice.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's
remember these
fun.
old ads as well when they used to have these 2 ladies representing teeth.
I think it was a different chewing gum. I think it was an Orbit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was an Orbit. I do remember them, but it was a different brand.
Maybe. It was a long time ago.
Yeah, oh, we were young back then and League of Legends did not exist. Good old times.
I mean, it might have been already.
No, I don't think so. Because I was very small. And League was 2009?
14 years ago, so yeah, probably.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Imagine there are kids born right now that were born later than League of Legends was released.
I mean, if you think about it, the first Half-Life was released a really long time ago. The game is as old as the majority of us are.
Yeah. It's crazy, no?
I mean,
it makes me a little bit sad.
Why?
Because, I don't know, time passes and everything, and I feel old suddenly.
Well, the first Half-Life, just in case. The first Half-Life was released in 1998.
Okay.
Just that's something.
Our producer wasn't even born yet when it was released.
Me neither.
I was. Ha! You babies! Or am I just old?
You weren't born when there was Mario Brothers. Our production is now smurfing on the trolling side. Okay, boomer. Can somebody insert the Left 4 Dead meme? Oh, watch out, guys. There's a boomer there.
Can we not? That's like insulting and I'm gonna cry. And I don't want to cry before the match of the week.
Why not? You're crying out of joy because the match of the week.
No, because I want to be enjoying match of the week and I will not be able to see anything because I have some allergic reaction in my eyes that whenever I cry wearing glasses, my eyes start to hurt. So I would need to put my glasses off. And if I do that, I see nothing.
What are you allergic at if you have your glasses on?
I wish I knew.
Like, there's nothing that touches your...
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense!
That doesn't make any sense.
Regardless, if you're wondering why are we talking about allergies, the reason is we are still waiting for the match to begin. Apparently, there is somewhat of a technical difficulty that we are still experiencing. We are waiting for some more information and clarification.
Mhm.
But for now,
we are waiting for the clarification. We should be thrown into the game somewhere soon, hopefully. But yeah, there is issues on one of the players' side. Don't know who exactly, but we'll see. The moment the moment the game starts, we will find out what's going on. But for now, yeah, we can just wait. It is sad that this is the match of the week that is being delayed and we're waiting for it. But well, I just hope that the game is going to be worth the wait in the end, as it usually happens in Ultraliga, to be honest.
I mean, technical difficulties in professional League of Legends is, there's a thing, like, for example, the old arch nemesis, right? You have, I don't know, the Middle Earth and Mordor. You have Darth Sidious and Yoda. You have other things. I don't know. Can't come up with anything. Professional League of Legends, technical difficulties. These are arch nemesis.
That's true. To be honest, though, it's not just professional League of Legends, it's just League of Legends. Imagine you're like, it's your promo game and ranked, and you've queued up, finally you have the pick that you really wanted to take, the matchup is very good, your support is like, yay, we can do it, because you're not playing support in this scenario. Everybody's communicating, which doesn't usually happen, in your teams. You start booting the game, and suddenly, I don't know, your computer crashes, it's just blue screens, or there is a power outage in your area, and boom, and you can't play anymore.
Emotional damage. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been there at least once, right? It just happens. It's not something you can influence. It's not something you can do anything about. But it just hurts you so much when it happens.
It genuinely does. Yes. Hopefully, we are going to avoid some emotional damage and log into the game as soon as possible. For now, what we see so far is that a lot of ifs in the way how the game is going to go.
Yeah.
Orbit is involved. One with melon and the other one with the bubblegum.
And both are anonymous. So you don't know which one is which.
Yes.
Yes.
Refuses to elaborate further on the topic. Yeah, something
anyway.
Anyway.
Do you want to see some magic? Our production just asked. Of course, Peter, we always do.
And don't forget, you're going to get...
Oh! No, it was better before. No.
The lineup...
The lineup was perfect, though.
Yes.
For a second, we were in the studio together with our Polish lads. Hello,
Yeah.
Polish lads.
Yeah.
But match of the week. Robert, I
I can hear the music. We can make it a 2-2 for them and deliver the first defeat to Obed and Anonymo.
Oh, it's Oriana who might be in a bit of trouble if he doesn't recognize the fact that there's a lot of people. Yeah, they're hugging the wall, so I'm pretty sure that they are going to appear there in a few seconds. And yep, flash over. Chipsy didn't hit the
Chipsy.
Oh!
Chipsy, brother, you had one job. The guy even flashed in for the hook and didn't hit it. Oh my goodness. You know what? If I were a support in that situation, I would just immediately disconnect and go into my bathroom and cry in the corner because that is not something you erase from your memory.
I agree. A little bit unfortunate. Two punches have been wasted in this encounter.
Yeah.
No first blood has been dropped, so it's all chilly.
So far, so good. But to be honest, Forsaken got something out of it. Well, first of all, they got a flash out of Chipsy, and they got a living top laner. But also, if you look at the map, you can see it right now because Afroboy is covering it. But there is a ward right where he is taking the pro buff, which means that Forsaken know the movements of the enemy. However, for Obit Norma, if right now Belly decides to go for a full clear, they will also know because there is a ward at his Krugs.
Yes, indeed. And both
Yeah,
of
here
the
it is.
junglers-
Look at that.
Yeah.
He has been spotted.
And both of the top, but the top laners, no, junglers, are going to rotate towards the bottom side. I wonder if our prediction in the very beginning of the draft phase is going to be coming to life here, if you want, because we've talked about where the overall pressure point of both of these teams are going to be, right? Where their points are going to be. And I'm wondering if we'll see much more proactivity from Obit Anonymo in order to make sure that Neriman and Chipsy are being propelled. As you can see, Forsaken, they are still in control when it comes to the wave management, sort of. They have managed to put themselves in a better position when it comes to level 2. OE might try to freeze or instead just de-push. It depends on, again, what Afroboy and Roizen are looking to do. And so it comes to Bellet and Rafbin.
To be honest, right now, it mostly comes to Afroboy. What exactly he decides to do on the map, which parts of the map he wants to rotate a little bit quicker than the others. But yeah, for now, Nermin seems in a pretty safe situation. He's still farming. He's sitting very safely. Nobody's going his way. And Charisma, in the meantime, is taking a lovely, nice stroll through the jungle. Where is the boy going? Oh.
To clear out the ward, the thing is he left Lucian for a really long time. Afroboy not going to capitalize on this, however. They're not looking to go for an early gank. This stroll also allowed Whitman to pick up level 3 faster a little than Chipsy and Neriman. Might have been a bit of a bad position for Charisma to be in, because now he's falling behind.
I would say it's still fine for him. It's not as crucial for him as for Whitman to make sure he gets as much experience in team as possible. Plus, to be fair, I don't think Whitman was ever in any danger because, yes, judging by how Chipsy was moving around the lane, he was trying to look for opportunities, but they knew that Bellet wasn't that part of the map. Prime.
Afroboy is trying to go onto Ariana. The stun is going to connect. Prime is dancing around, making sure not to walk up. Ariana has no flash, remember that. And first blood is going to be picked up by Prime. Very well coordinated from the top side of Obit Anonymo.
Even though Prime was going extremely low with his health, but in the end it is Ariana still had no flash, so he got punished for that. He has no ignite anymore after this exchange. He was feeling rather comfortable in the lane, to be honest, right before that very moment, because he is the Rumble with the Arcane Comet, which means he has this additional damage from afar if he needs to onto the enemy. But very nicely done by Afroboy. More division from them. So far, it is the classic Obit Anonymo that we already pretty much got used to during the last week. They just want to have the whole game under their control.
Pretty much true. Let's see if this is going to stay the way it started for them.
there's a little bit of invasion coming in through from Afroboy, who's going to take the Raptors away. Going to get unpunished because Belit is a little bit late to the party. The aggressive vision paying off so nicely. Belit didn't spot the ward. So it's still a lot of info given away to Orbit Anonymo in what Belit is going to do.
Look at that. He hasn't been noticed up until the very last moment. And when Ariana finally sees that Afroboy is on the top lane, it is way too late for him to react. Remember, he doesn't have the flash. He cannot get away out of that anymore. So Orbit Anonymo just played out on the fact that there is no vision on this side of the map for Forsaken.
Ariana tried to juke away the stun by getting into the minions, right? Because the stun from Viego also works on the minions, so if you tank it with the minion, then you won't get stunned. But the wave didn't catch up there in time, right? And that timing just allowed Orbit Anonymo to pretty much flawlessly execute that exchange. Let's see if it's going to go this way as well. Level 6 now for Prime means Ariana has to respect it. Equalizer might not be as useful as it would be in a choke point, but Forsaken go, all right, topside is not under our control. Let's try to force that dragon down. We'll see a skirmish. Chipsy and Neriman, though, in such a great position. They're both level 5.
Chipsy's here. Afroboy is here as well. No level 6 here, but Rosen has the level 6. He's on the other side of the river, but maybe this Encore is going to help his team.
Maybe so. Victor
Smite game.
Happened with the Imperial Shuffle. That's a very good one. The double knockup. Chipsy and Neriman might just go down here. Brilliant combo. Encore just too little, too late. And Rosen will do a bit of damage, but that won't be enough. Fantastic initiation from Raffin and Belit.
Raffin is such a nice surprise throughout this season, to be honest. Like, everybody in Forsaken is playing well. We knew what to expect from some of these players. We didn't know what to expect from others, and Raffin probably was on the second half of this equation. But, to be honest, his play level on Azir, his playmaking level on Azir is absolutely insane. Just keep a very close eyes on him. He chooses the perfect moment to go in because Drake is getting very close to the first smite point. That is exactly when he's going in with the flash and with a beautiful Emperor's Divide to make sure he catches the enemies off guard, takes the flash out of Afroboy because he's trying to immediately get away through this wall and away from the Drake, which means there is no chance for Orbit Anonymo to get the Drake anymore or to win the fight.
Not only Afroboys, but also Neriman's flash as well. He also invested in that fight. A brilliant victory just in general. Small one, yes, but brilliant for Forsaken. Now it's the question, can they capitalize on this? Because Neriman is going to get a few more gold points into his pocket. Flash, he missed. Charisma, still alive. We're going to see if the fight is still going to happen. They're quite deep under the enemy's turret, but no, Charisma didn't find any knockups. The fight was instantly abandoned. Therefore, they're fine.
Ariana notices that something is happening around the Void Grabs, but it doesn't look like they're going to stop them. Maybe from the last one, though.
Another flash has been burnt away in Forsaken. I don't think they're going to try to take this fight. It would be in the Malphite's disadvantage. No, never mind. Okay, onto Rosen now. The stun coming in through. Belit is quite tanky. Goes even with the Catalogism flash over the wall. Double as the first kill coming in through. Afroboy still alive. Belit might just lay his life for this. That exchange. Granted, 1 kill to the jungler, but also 1 kill to Prime.
I love it from Forsaken very much because they know that they have the champions who are stronger in the early game than Orbit Anonymo. Because yes, of course, Raffin still needs to scale up. He still needs his items, at least his Nashor's Tooth. But they have Lucian, who, by the way, is going with the support item as well. So the double support meta is still in business, baby. They have J4 and they have Rumble. All of them are really strong in the early to mid game. And I love to see that they are trying to capitalize on that. They're trying to get as many advantages on the map as possible before Orbit Anonymo scale into their own comfort zone.
Definitely true. Let's see how this is going to unravel now. I am also quite eager to see, because remember when we were talking about it in the pre-show, where, or not, sorry, not in pre-show, pre-draft, where the overall attention is going to go, right? So if you just assess the situation, Neriman is falling behind, and it's Prime who's actually in such a great state currently.
Yeah.
Right? With the 2-0-0, already building into the Mortius to make sure that Ariana is not going to deal that much damage to him. It's showcased now just beautifully. So I'm wondering, are they going to try and walk around with the fact that Raffin and Whitman have been shining in this game? And how Orbit Anonymo, they are happy with the fact that at least one side is the strong side. Yes, definitely. But how is this going to pay off in the later stages of the game?
Well, historically, we know that Orbit Anonymo as a team are fine to play around whichever side turns out to be the strong one for them. That's first. And second of all, you still have to remember that most likely, unless Forsaken do some magic, the game is going to go into a very late game state. And this is where the tables can be turned very much by Orbit Anonymo, because when these items finally hit for Aphelios, 3-item Aphelios doesn't care how bad his lane was. He still hits like a truck.
True that. But now
Oy, oy,
Forsaken
oy,
are
oy,
looking
oy,
for
oy,
a way.
oy.
Belit and Rafbin, the jungle mid duo synergy coming in through with the Cataclysm onto both of them. There in his flashless, and here comes the shuffle. It's a clean execution yet again with the punishment to Rafbin, though, tanking the turret for a long time, still burning from an ignite a little bit more, and the heal is going to be invested too. No kills for Orbit Anonymo and 2 kills for Rafbin.
However, it took 4 members of their team. That is a really good call from them, not just because of the kills, but also because of the prior they're taking over the bot lane right prior to the Drake. However, on the mid lane, Royson in the meantime has been left to his own devices. Tell me.
He missed the plate. The plate was there,
Yeah.
but he didn't get the money. That's
Yeah.
ouch.
Oh, well, misplayed. That just happens, unfortunately. It was more important for them to recall in order not to stop the recall just to go for the turret plate. Honestly, it makes more sense in that scenario to lose a little bit here when you already won quite a big fight for yourself, because that was executed perfectly. There was absolutely zero way for Orbit Anonymo to get out of this fight. However, again, Forsaken had to rotate a lot of resources. I love it for them, but at the same time, I'm a little bit worried if they always would need to make sure they rotate as many people as possible for a potential fight, which might be the case yet again. 3 members of Forsaken are around the bot lane with the Drake already up, and Roughbin is coming here too.
Royson has to push away, but as soon as that happens, he can also join the fun by the Drake. The Drake is around. It's a Cloud Drake that is going to be the next one. Looks like Orbit Anonymo are looking to pull the trigger before Rapin's going to be around. Has the flash, doesn't have the shuffle. Right, so that seems like
at
the
Prime.
perfect time.
Look at Prime.
Ooh,
He's
he
in the
just
mid lane.
walks down,
He's walking
yes.
by.
Ariana doesn't have the teleport. That means they
Uh-huh.
cannot fight for this whatsoever.
Exactly. Ariana had to tell. Well, Ariana has no teleport. Sorry, I'm already starting to talk about the next thing because Rafi doesn't have a teleport either. He had to invest it after the previous exchange. So it's interesting what's happening because Forsaken got a prior, but they couldn't really translate it into anything else on the map right after getting this double kill. And what worries me is that right now, yes, there is Belit on the top side of the map, but their bot lane is still nowhere to be seen around that part, and Orbit Anonymo really want to take the grubs. Chipsy?
Whitman doing a lot of damage with that culling. Here comes the Moonlight Sejour as well. Teleport coming in through. Chipsy's not going to hit another hook as 2 flashes have been invested. Royson with the flash over the wall together with an anchor onto Whitman. They're going to bring him down. Charisma might be the next target. Royson here to try to look for that shutdown onto someone. Knock up Neramin. He's going to tank the turret. Can he walk away from this?
No! He's going to be slain. Charisma will take that kill. Overall, looked rather wonderfully. Rapin is here trying to go for more. Hops in with the soldiers. Doesn't even have to invest his ultimate. He's just going to take that kill. Forsaken. It was a disaster that turned into a reasonable answer.
Exactly. Just so many little missteps from Orbit Anonymo here and there with Chipsy yet again for the 3rd time in a row that we're seeing it on our screens, not hitting the hook as he was supposed to, with Neramin tanking 1 tower shot too many, and with Rosen as a result staying there alone on the bot lane and transferring the 3rd kill already into the pockets of Ralphbin. This is a game of many missteps for Orbit Anonymo, surprisingly enough, after their flawless performance before.
It is indeed. Let's not discard Prime, as in mid-game, we might see many more fights with the top laners involved, and Prime is now propelling himself into a very nice lead. Rumble falling behind just a tiny bit more when you just look at the overall way. Already completed item for Prime with that sword there as a build path towards more of Mortius. Wonder if he's going to complete the item or he's just going to sell it as soon as the lane phase is going to be over. Herald is on the map. Prior is in the hands of Forsaken, but Belit is nowhere near that Herald currently. Ariana, is he going to take it for himself? I mean, he can't do it, can he?
He can, considering, yeah, he has the healing. He actually could try to go for it, but don't worry because Belit is already around to help his top laner out. You gotta remember though that all 6 of the Void Crabs went into the pockets of Orbit Anonymo, which means if they play this game slowly and if they play for the objectives, they will have massive push potential, which might be what they're doing right now on the bot.
Robin has the flash, has the Imperial Shuffle. Let's look. Here comes the Imperial Shuffle onto Neriman. Charisma is going to tank the turret. Here comes the ultimate as well. Now Whitman versus Neriman. Whitman is winning that fight. One more Q will seal the deal. And yes, indeed, teleport coming in through. That means Prime is about to arrive. The fight starts towards end. Here we come. That's a shutdown onto the Azir. Charisma dancing around, trying to look for at least something. Afro Boy flashes out from the turret's range. It was a bit of a chaotic fight, but it's Prime now who's making sure that his team is still settled.
Can Ariana do anything? There are no recalls that he's going to stop on time, especially if he's turning all the way around. Very interesting fight there between Whitman and Neriman, to be honest. But Whitman is just at the very comfortable spot, an item and a half already in the pockets of the solution. And it's really hard to have any say against his damage, especially when he has the calling in. But frankly, again, for Forsaken, for God knows which time in a row already, Ruffin is becoming the main star of the show because his streamer shuffles are absolutely insane, right? So until Prime teleports in.
Well, the world's end is definitely ending some worlds here and there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
3-1 he goes in this game, feeling very comfortable.
Yeah.
However, we might see yet another fight. No teleports now available for Prime as 1 minute until the next Drake is going to appear. Shouldn't be the Cloud Drake though. Should be something else, no? Yeah.
Chem Drake.
Chem.
I
Okay.
assume if the timer is broken, it's usually the Chem Drake, as we have already established. Most likely, it's going
True
to be
that.
the one.
And now just the Void Grub substitute. No, it's Hex the
I
Gates.
know it's Hex. Yeah, I just looked at the map and I was like, wait,
Yep.
the gates. That's the wrong one. Okay, so there are two Drakes that still break the timer. Seasons change, but some things never change.
Also, what never changes are your predictions, because we're talking about these Void Grubs, and yes, indeed, as you could have seen, now these Void Grubs have been using to the fullest potential. Afro Boy looking maybe to have something. Rapin is here. The turret is going to go down there, and it is almost dead in the process. Here comes the Equalizer with the Belladon, the knock-up as well. The Charm is going to hit 4, but the Cleanse has been used almost immediately together with the Depth Charge too. Rapin in a bit of a troublesome situation. The Equalizer has been used. Everything has been used really onto Prime now. They just waited for him to come to instantly kill him. That's a shutdown for Oriana. Might have been the best person to receive it even, to try to bring him back into the game. It's a 2 for 2 in this... No, it's 2 for 1 in this chaotic fight.
Well, it's not too surprising, unfortunately. I love the idea of Prime there to try to go into the enemy's backlane, but if you look at his items, he's going into full damage Aatrox, which is going to be very nice later on when he has more of those items, but that means he's no frontline, and you can see just how much damage he was taking onto himself from the side of Forsaken, and there is no way for him to sustain it because Spear of Shojin doesn't really give you any armor, magic resist, or anything whatsoever. I wonder if he's going to go into a little bit of a tankier build from there on. Afroboy might try to do the same, even though from his items now it doesn't seem so, which means Chipsy is the only full-on frontline for Orbit and Anonymo, and that's a little bit worrying.
Well, you could say that they're looking for much more sustain, especially later on from that Seraphine. You can see the Moonstone already there, right? So the healing up, together with the healing that is provided naturally by Aatrox, you could argue that they are going to be able to withstand a lot of damage. But for now, in those team fights, what we see from Forsaken is a clear understanding of what is the strong side of Orbit's Anonymo, and that you need to find a way to work around it. And for now, I say it's working really well for them.
However, you gotta remember their game against Zero Tenacity. Everything was working really fine for them until the enemy finally realized what was going on and how exactly to shut them down. I wonder when this moment is going to happen for Albert Normal, if it happens at all, to be honest. Because right now they have two really big threats on the enemy side. It is the Ruffin and the Whitman, and Ruffin is going to be getting scarier and scarier.
Ariana might not be, flashes away, drops down the Equalizer. He is again in the safety, but again had to invest himself. And here comes Rapin on a teleport, looking for more. Shuffle is going to be used, but he's unstoppable. Afroboy is out. A few more soldiers to try maybe to lay some damage, as the rest of the team is now coming. Belitz is here together with Whitman and Charisma. Are they going to try to look for more? Roizen might be in trouble. The Equalizer has been dropped together with an Encore to try to save your life. But no, Roizen will fall. Chipsy and Afroboy are still here, maybe to try to defend that turret. But it's going to be quite hard to defend, and Neriman picks up one for himself. Prime does as well. Prime.
Oh no!
Okay.
It's a turret raise!
It is indeed. Flash forward from Whitman, trying to go for Afroboy. Didn't finish him off. And they've taken 2 turrets. It's a 2 for 2 exchange in the end.
Yes, but they have the mid lane and the top lane completely open right now, which is a not good look if you look at the timer, 19:45, sorry, which means that the Baron is going to respawn right now, and Forsaken just gave a lot of advantage to Obit Normo, especially since it was Prime and Nermin who were farming and who were getting in the minions and the turrets. They got a very nice influx of money right now, and they desperately needed it because Nermin is still sitting on 1.5 item only. He needs all the money he can get, and if Forsaken don't stop him from free farming like that, very soon they will face a problem in his face.
There is an argument to be made that now Forsaken have much more control over the Drakes, right? So
That's
with
true.
that bot lane completely cracked open, with the Hex Gates, you have much more wiggle room to try and stack up those Hex Dragons, which is something you really want to do. Thinking about you have Azir and Lucian in your team.
Yeah.
But the Baron point is it's a really powerful one to make as well, because as we could have seen, Prime and Neramin, just as you rightfully mentioned, they were pushing in those towers, and if you leave Prime alone on the lane, he can just try to push any lane at this point.
I'm a little bit more worried about Nermin even, to be honest, because the guy, we have seen that already from Obit Normal. That's what worries me. We have seen all the teams trying to shut Nermin down. Whenever it happens, what does Nermin do? He completely withdraws from any fights. He completely refuses to go with the team wherever they are. He goes to other lanes and he farms non-stop like a madman, especially if he's playing on Aphelios. He's doing exactly that, which means he's on the right track potentially to get to his items. Already sitting on the 2. Finally, the Infinity Edge has been taken for him. Already a better placed where he was before.
Vision now will be taken over by Orbit Anonymo. The Scuttlecrab, of course, now in the hands of Forsaken. Ghost has been used as Prime takes the enemy blue buff.
For everybody. You get a blue buff. You get a blue buff. Everybody gets a blue buff if it's already the Baron time.
Afro Boy might be in a bit of trouble.
Oy, oy,
Here we
oy.
go with the Heartbreaker as well. 2 ultimates have been traded. Raffin is still on the chase. Are they looking for more here? But it looks like what they're looking for is just to set up the fight for the Drake. Afro Boy's flashes on cooldown as well as the ultimate should be off the cooldown when the time for the Drake will come. But it
will
looks like, yeah, Forsaken. Are they gonna? No, they're not.
They could, but again, it's Forsaken. They know their timings very well. That's why they're trying to lure Orbit Normo in.
Chipsy will get initiated upon. The Encore still being held on. Depth charge to knock up 2 in the air. No real fighting, just teasing and flexing the muscles here and there.
So now they're going for the Drake. Now they're going for the Drake because they still have a prio for it. It takes some time for Orbit Normo to regroup there to destroy the turret from Azir. So now, can they fight for it? It's not a very crucial Drake, but it would be nice to take it.
Chipsy's going to arrive just in a few seconds. The Hex Gates will be used for Prime to arrive into the backlane of the enemies. Chipsy as well. It's a 1 versus 1 situation. Everybody's one side on the other. Drake is slowly falling down. Erlit and Afroboy are here. The smite has been used. Here come the charm onto 3. Whitman instantly cleanses it out. Moonlight Sigil is going to do quite a bit of damage. But no, follow-up Forsaken. Very quick to disengage from this fight. And Orbit Anonymo, they might use this time to pull the Baron card. Are they going to do it?
But with the Hex Gates, that's not giving them enough time. Because the enemy is going to go back into the pit very quickly. But they're still trying to do it regardless. They have the damage, to be fair, especially with Nermin with them right now. But look at Forsaken. They're already here. They have the Shurima Shuffle.
Yes, they do. Together with Flash, that might be such a strong situation for them to play around. Ariana's going to walk up, doesn't have the equalizer. Here we go. The fight started. Raffin going to get hooked in. The Baron has been stolen away by Whitman. Look at that. Can they get away with it, though? Charisma flashes out. Whitman still firing away. He's very close to the enemies. So that might be a bit of a trouble. 1-for-1 exchange. Chipsy down. So is Billy's. Forsaken still on the run. Ariana trying to tank as much as he can. Prime is still here. Doesn't have the ultimate. Knock up onto Charisma. A lot of damage as well. Whitman is here, firing away his guns. Ariana versus Afroboy. The stun coming in through. He doesn't have the equalizer already used in the previous fight. The root coming in as well. And the Heartbreaker will not break Ariana's heart in this exchange. Raffin still sitting on that shuffle. Turret will be placed down as well to try to gear themselves just a bit more room and space to wiggle in. Prime is looking for more charm onto 3. That might be just the perfect setup. First go through. Whitman flashes out after a boy's on the chase. He's looking like Raffin, and he will take those kills into his hands. Charisma is now running for his line, but it matters so little. The entire Baron buff
was destroyed by Orbit Anonymo.
I gotta say that Royson with that flash has just stolen my heart from boys right there. Now, yes, he found him. He found Charisma. That is going to be one that Milia on the Rift. But Royson pretty much won this game for Orbit Anonymo because it looked a little bit desperate. The good exchange at the Drake, which didn't really end too well because the Drake in the end went into Forsaken's hand. Very risky decision from Orbit Anonymo to go onto the Baron immediately after that. Good answer from Forsaken. Again, Forsaken's timings are impeccable. They know when to retreat because right here they get the Drake. They get a little bit out of this exchange more and they realize that they need to withdraw immediately. They don't force anything more than they know that they can chew. But then here they go in, they steal the Baron, good timing, but then they're stuck here because they cannot disengage from this speed anymore and they have to fight. They're forced to do it.
It was a prolonged fight and the ability of Orbit Anonymo to chase the enemy down has been just so crucial. Again, yes, with the Roizen's clutch flash plus the ultimate just allowed them to do so much in this game. And let's see if that was enough to stabilize it. Orbit Anonymo are now in the lead in terms of gold. They are slowly getting back themselves on the track, but they are there. And next fights to come, it looks like Forsaken need to find a different game plan if they want to bring Orbit Anonymo down.
But Orbit Anonymo just need to farm up a little bit more because if you look at Nerman, he's almost at, assumingly, the Bloodthirster, which is going to be a very powerful third item for him. And Orbit Anonymo are still pushing in. They don't have the Baron buff, of course. And Forsaken are also going to be pushing into their base as an answer. But for Orbit Anonymo right now, they are in a really comfortable spot. And you can see just how good their team fighting was because Prime, whenever he's not going in as a front lane, whenever he's not tanking too much damage, because look at his items, he's not a tank, he is a full-on damage dealer. When he's there just to build damage and execute the enemies, there's so much damage going from Orbit Anonymo's side.
There's indeed, and let's see how the siege is going to go. Equalizer drop down to make sure that the wave clear as soon as possible. Ultimate, not going to do too much damage. Neramin, though, forces Orianna out of this fight. Charisma is trying to heal him up, but that's not going to be enough. Look at the damage from Neramin from the sniper gun. They are just trying to force Forsaken out of their own, under their own turret. Prime in the meantime, doing exactly what they thought is going to happen. He's split pushing.
He's having a solo ball game there on the top lane with the pugs from the Void Grubs. Oh, Royson!
Shuffle has been used, and it was the wrong way around. He thought that they're coming in, but no.
Rathbin has only 2 modes. He's a God Azure mode, the Gold King Bird, or he's a little burb.
Pigeon.
It's only the 2. Yeah, it's either the Emperor or the Pigeon. No other way. His ruffles are one or the other.
The Imperial Pigeon.
Exactly.
Apparently that's going on here. Now, top lane still getting siege by Prime. Bot lane slowly but surely forced away by Forsaken. The thing is, look at the timers. 3 seconds and the dragon is going to appear and Ariana can't get there in time. Yes, has the Hex Drakes, but it's Prime who's sitting on a teleport.
Forsaken are a little bit busy, DrBrilmann, to be fair. They have to depush their base from all the minions pouring in. They are not exactly having the eye set on the dragon because, well, it's hard to get to the dragon when, if you do so, your base might just crumble and fall down. So they miss this Drake, but it's just a soul point for Orbit Anonymo. Still 4 more minutes to breathe a little bit, but not really, because in a minute, a little bit more than a minute, the next Baron is going to be up, and Nermin is finally on his power spike, which means for Forsaken it's going to be really hard from now on to fight Orbit.
Have to see how the next fights are going to go. Prime pushing in the bot lane, trying to get as many of those towers as possible, as many of those inhibitors as possible as well. Forsaken just dancing around with their enemies, looking for a good fight. Stun coming in through, another hook as well onto Billet, another root as well. But Jarvan is getting tankier and tankier by every minute.
That's very true. He's going in with a Frozen Heart. He's also having the Sundered Sky, which means his healing is there, and it's a really strong one. Plus, there is Milia on top of that in his team, so to provide some additional healing should it be needed. But Orbit Anonymo are still not finding any rest. They're pushing in. They want to have as much power as possible if they need to rotate to the Baron afterwards.
Double flashes available for Forsaken, double ultimates. Belit and Rathbin are ready to bring the fight to them. No knockups found just yet. Belit takes some damage from Neramin. The ultimate is going to go absolutely wide here.
Rappen only now walking up to join his teammates. Ebelit, though, you don't need an ultimate when you can just force your enemy out with the sniper gun. But it's Prime also that concerns them, and you can see Rappen is constantly forced to go and answer this. Inhibitor is falling down. It's 4 versus 3. You can't deal with this currently.
No, as Forsaken, you can't. You would love to, but you literally cannot do anything. And now you're stuck at your base D pushing. If there is any additional push happening from Prime, they would be absolutely dead, quite possibly. But I think since Prime is sitting on the teleport, he's going to use it to join his team. Should they go for the Baron right now? They could do it. He's doing exactly that. Oh, that is potentially going to be a big fight at the Baron pit.
Maybe the last one, if Forsaken don't pull this off, and they know they have to step up. Again, flashes are almost everywhere, pretty much everywhere across the board. Gypsy hooking in bellied with the stun and the root coming in through Afroboy, not exactly feeling the brightest. Equalizer has been dropped down, but not enough damage. Gypsy has to be forced away because of the damage coming from that culling. Ariana is still around, dancing around. Here comes the Cataclysm onto Afroboy, not enough to kill him. He's going to reset. The Encore is going to go a little bit wide. Christmas now the next target. Whitman is firing away, but that seems to be just the time when it all ends. Double flashes have been used, and Orbit on Anonymo find the exact fight they want. Take it slow, take it easy, have a rest, Forsaken.
The classic Orbit Anonymo for you, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are the patient hunters. They wait through the early game, no matter how tough it goes for them. They are prepared for that. They don't even need any early game lanes because they know that the late game is going to deliver the result for them. And there is only one result that Orbit Anonymo cared for going into this game. It is them seeing the 4-0 on their scoreboard as the end of week 2 of Ultraliga, and that is exactly what's going to be happening for them.
A fantastic display of having full control over the later stages of the game, turning the game completely around. It feels like this one fight, when Royson flashes in with an encore, it just saved Orbit Anonymo from the moment of, guys, we might be in trouble.
For sure, it was the turning point of the whole game. Just Royson making sure that they get the most out of what looked like a pretty desperate situation, because considering how much Forsaken were trying to push through the enemy's lanes, this Baron buff would have been really beneficial for them. But alas for them, they never got the chance to use it. They got wiped out completely by that one good move from Royson. Guys, don't give Royson. I mean, for us, for our pleasure, do give Royson Seraphine, since she is the Queen of Poland. Indeed, I can confirm, I know. But if you're playing against them, maybe it's a good idea to ban her out and be happy and safe.
And in general, it seems like Forsaken, we have been thinking about how the game is going to go for them, what's going to be the game plan. They've executed the way we have sort of expected. They shut down Neraman. They made sure that everything's going their way. It feels like maybe it happened also because of the fact that Prime has been given that one kill in the beginning of the game that allowed him to completely stabilize the game for himself up there. And then it was Prime who was split pushing and Royson who was utilizing. I don't need to say utilizing. He was making sure that the team doesn't go down in those team fights.
Just
right?
keeping everybody alive, yeah.
Yeah, just keeping everybody alive. Right. And then these two solo laners made sure that for the rest of the team, there is enough time to get themselves in a position of, okay, it's fine. We scale, we kill, we press buttons.
Exactly. It's okay, guys. We scale. It's all right. I really wonder if Forsaken could have done more, because they did have the early game leads and they did recognize that they had those because they were pushing in. They were rotating a lot throughout the map, especially rotating Wheatmatter with the jungle, because, well, those were the guys that had the most damage in the early stages of the game. But later on, maybe they lost the momentum, or maybe indeed it was just that flash ultimate from Royce that completely changed the state of the game.
I mean, props to Forsaken, because they had a pretty decent try at de-throating the team that goes flawless for now. For the second week in a row, they are still flawless, and they are still yet to find a worthy adversary. But we are ready for our interview. Blockham, as the head coach for the team, is joining us here. Hello, mates. How are you feeling? Walk us through the game.
Yeah, hi. I mean, the game was a bit suspicious, you know. I think enemy draft was kind of easier to play. Like, of course, for us, the draft is fine to play, but for sure it wasn't the best thing for Nera. I mean, like, he kind of struggled this game because of the draft. But, I mean, we got the win, you know, so it's all fine.
Could you please tell us, in your opinion, what was the thing that turned the game around? Was it some single thing, or was it like the chain of events?
To be honest, I think just our draft is outscaling. So if they
Mm.
don't pressure that much, like they pressured a bit, it was pretty good from them. But they didn't pressure enough, I think. So on the first Drake, when they kinda stole it, because I think in this fight that we always take the Drake, I just think like we decided to go Baron for fun. Like it wasn't the best, but then they inted, so it was fine. But yeah, like this could be like the game-changing moment where we could lose the game. But I mean, we got the kills, so it wasn't that bad.
Walk me through what is the takeaway for the team from this game, because we've been talking about the way how Zero Tenacity are going to perform in the next game, and that it has to be a convincing game for them. And pretty much the same responsibility falls on the shoulders of Orbit Anonymo. You have to show us very persuasive games in order for not only to contest the top 2, top 1, and potentially winning the entire cup, but also going for the EMEA. So you as a head coach and you as a team, what is the main takeaway or the key points of these takeaways coming from today's game?
Pretty much just early game. Like we still need to fix few things in early game. It's going pretty good in scrims, and overall, like in officials, it's getting better. But I still think like our weakest point is early game, and we need to work on it. Like we sometimes play off tempo, sometimes we just don't respect enemies enough. Like you could see it on bot play when Avi roamed. I think it was kind of obvious that they are roaming, but Royson didn't communicate it well enough, so we died there. But those are like minor mistakes, so quite I'm quite happy with how it's going.
A very personal question from me, because I saw Viego being picked in this game by Afroboy, and
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what to make out of it. What is your opinion on Viego in the current state of the game?
I mean, I will not speak about Viego. Like I will just say that Afroboy on Viego is different beast. So we were preparing Seraphine Viego drafts. Like both of them work really well. It's a mid jungle duo, and it's probably like the best Afroboy's champion. So we were quite happy with him in the draft. And yeah, I mean, in current meta, I think if you get good mid lane pairing, it's pretty good. But other than that, it's sometimes just hard to pick it.
Blockholm, thank you so much for joining us here for the interview. Congratulations on your victory. And, you know, the tradition flows really, really easily. If you'd like to give a shout out to anyone, maybe in your own native language, go ahead and do so right now.
I will just shout out you guys. No one else, just you. And I
you
will also
so
shout out
much.
our 14 wins this split. Nothing else.
Thank you
I
so
love
much,
it.
mate. Very, very much thank you for joining us here for this interview, and good luck in the next games.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
Right.
Anonymo continues to be the most heartwarming team when it comes to the interviews.
The most wholesome team, and also the team with the most wins so far.
I think they're the only team that goes still flawless, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. If you look at the standings, you'll see that there's only one team who's still having a clean record, and it is Orbit Anonymo. Let's see if Zero Tenacity are going to catch up, because we are moving to our third and final game of today after a small break. It's going to be Zero Tenacity versus
ESCA Gaming.
ESCA Gaming, yes. For some reason, I wanted to stay back to the game, but it was yesterday. Jesus
Yes.
Christ, I'm very sorry. It is going to be Zero Tenacity versus ESCA, Team ESCA Gaming. We'll be back in a second.
Sí, ¿vos de qué parte sos? Yo de aquí. Ah, mira. ¿Tú de qué parte eres? Del norte.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
Did anybody suspect a skip cat?
No. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the third game of tonight. It is going to be the last one, as if you're somehow still joining us just now, and if you are somehow not aware of everything that has been happening for the past 24 hours, then to very quickly clarify, the last one of the games for tonight. Hello, Matilda. Last game of tonight. Thank you for helping us to clarify the situation, but one of the games of today, Iron Wolves versus devils.one, have been forfeited by Iron Wolves due to the violation of the rules. If you would like to explore more on that topic, please refer to the pinned message in the chat and then go to Twitter, as you will see the official statement in both available Polish and English languages from the respective accounts, Ultraliga and Ultraliga EN English.
That was obvious.
Yes.
Yes.
It was.
Yes.
Captain Obvious on duty.
All right, Dr. Obvious.
Dr. Obvious. Oh my god. What is wrong with me, doctor? You're sick.
That's going to be 5k. Anyway.
I could continue on this, but I won't. Yeah, anyway. Zero Tenacity versus Team ESCA Gaming.
Yes. There is at the same time not much to say about this matchup and a lot to say about this matchup, because I feel like if you just look at the matchup, you can pretty much predict how it's going to look like. Chances are Zero Tenacity, still being a very strong team, are going to take over ESCA Gaming. But then if you just look into each of the team, there is so much more to uncover here.
I am believing though that there's a mistake, because it says that I have picked ESCA in the prediction, which I didn't.
I'm going to check, but you continue. You did, apparently, according to our production, you did.
I refuse to elaborate further.
No, I would like you to elaborate further. Please tell us what exactly made you vote for ESCA in this game. What makes you believe in this team? Tell us.
Autocorrect on my iPhone.
Okay, but there has to be something. I'm sorry, my dog is going absolutely crazy. But
it is
tell
fine.
me.
She's also excited for the fact that I have somehow picked ESCA. Well, to be honest, no, I'm trying to diminish the ESCA's approach to the game. Apparently, though, somehow ESCA has made it to the prediction sheet, which wasn't the plan. It was the plan to put Zero Tenacity in there because, as you've said.
So you think that Zero Tenacity are going to win this in the end?
Yeah.
Why?
I am pretty sure.
I want to know your opinion.
I'm so confused. I'm not very technologically savvy. What have happened? But anyway, just one point. It's fine. It's fine, guys. We scale.
Just like all this Anonymo.
It works for them. Should work for me as well.
Why
Zero Tenacity should win is because we've seen them how much of a veteran players they are, and they are capable of winning pretty much every single game besides the one that they had with Anonymo. ESCA are in no position to fight against such experienced veterans just yet, because there is this problem of them being still a rookie team that still is developing and that is still experimenting more than anything, right? And experimenting versus Zero Tenacity might not just be the very safest of the options.
Yeah. To be honest, though, it's a little bit different when you look at the different lines, because, for example, for the top lane, I am very worried for ESCA because this line is an interesting player, but really looks like there is a lot more that he needs to improve before he's going to feel confident going into stronger teams, like Zero Tenacity. On the bot lane, I would say probably similar, but on the mid lane at the same time, I believe I said it already in the pre-show today, but I'm looking forward to this matchup because I think it's going to be the most exciting one between all of the lanes. Buffy is a good player, and you cannot argue with that. Buffy is probably the strongest player on ESCA's side at the moment, at this current state of the situation. And he's going to be going against Kofte, who is a very strong player and a very experienced one. But I really think that this matchup is going to be not just, yes, it's going to be a good learning experience, but we know that the one is going to lose. It's going to be a very interesting learning experience, and quite possibly we're going to see an unexpected result.
I mean, theoretically, why not? And the good thing about it, when you face an opponent like that, right, as you mentioned, you can use that experience to come further into the matches and then at least try to pick up more and more wins as you go. We're going into the draft, so let's see if just somehow I didn't curse Zero Tenacity by picking ESCA in my predictions, and they just pull off the victory. Yeah, I mean the caster curse is there; it's always there.
Yeah, it works in mysterious and unknown ways, to be honest. But what works in known ways is the draft, and I really wonder if ESCA are going to ban Xin Zhao or take it into their own hands right now, because they're going in with really good bans against Zero Tenacity, and Zed then are answering with the classic red side bans. So they remove Maokai, they remove Varus, and they remove Kalista. So pretty much everything that you expect from, like, you know, your staple red side team.
Not a lot to insta-pick currently. You can try to insta-pick Melia and go this as your first one and try to then rig opponent's draft. It's one of the ways to do it. Instead, you can, pick Xin Zhao, the other champion that wasn't banned just yet.
Exactly, and it's a really good pickup because they're taking it away from Blue Razor. And you're already so what Blue Razor can do with this Xin Zhao in his pockets. It's yeah, Hussar is... Yeah, they're taking away the Hussar buff. Oh my god, Zero Tenacity, I don't think you're gonna win this one.
You have to realize you are doomed.
Exactly.
Now, Nunu, probably not gonna get picked here.
Probably not.
Yes, indeed. It is going to be an Aphelios for Harpoon. A pretty much of a comfortable champion, I would say. We've seen Harpoon play quite a lot in the previous seasons as well. Also, Jinx might be one of the champions that he could play very, very well. But if Aphelios is up there for the taking, just why not take him?
Plus, if you're on the red side, you can take immediately, for example, Aphelios Lulu or Aphelios Milio and be very happy with it. Or they could even counter pick the jungle, immediately. And yeah, I mean, what else would he pick? There is Nocturne available, for example, if you really wanted to be a little bit spicy, but Vi seems like the safest option.
It is one of the most strongest options currently, so if you just go for it, you're going to be always in a fine position.
I apologize. She ganked me. Please continue.
Did she score a kill?
Yeah, she killed my heart and she stole it.
The enemy has been slain. Anyway,
exactly.
ESCA cooking their own Jinx. Yes, they are indeed. Picking it up for themselves, as there's still a question of what do you go for in terms of the mid lane, theoretically, as well. Yeah. With the Seraphim banned out, I mean, there's Azir still there for the taking.
Yeah, if they want to, of course, and Buffy could take him, but to be honest, do you want to take Azir right now? Because they could just go with a bot lane pick, to be honest, and pair up for Jinx with the support. Or, yeah, okay, fine, right, they can blind pick Azir. It can be answered with Korotkiy, it can be answered with anything else right now from the side of Zero Tenacity by Kofti. And again, it's the matchup I'm looking forward to the most, so I really want to see what Kofti is going to pick.
Malphite as a potential answer, but no, if there's Melia there, you just go and take it, because in the second rotation of bans, he is going to be banned if not taken. And right now, both of these teams can try to go and make sure that other lanes will be stabilized. Zero Tenacity, they can get away a few supports. They can try to ban Rakan, they can try to ban Nautilus, something like that, or instead turn their attention towards the top side of the map and secure very good jolly time for Melonic.
Jolly time for Melonic sounds really it sounds really fun, to be honest, but I really think they are going to, well, if not focus on supports, of course you need to get Nautilus out of the equation, so it's going to be the first ban from their side. And I know you say that Emilio is really good into Nautilus, and I agree with you, Emilio is good into any engagers, but Nautilus is just so good for the team fights in general, not just for the laning phase, so it really makes a lot of sense to get rid of him to make sure your Aphelios is staying as safe as possible.
I like the bans coming from ESCA. They decide that, yes, we have picked Azir, we have a Jinx, which means that our backline might be in a bit of trouble, so Akali has to go. I would be expecting maybe them to ban out LeBlanc as well.
Maybe.
As it is one of the ways to get to the backline quite quickly too.
To be fair, there's not too much backline as of yet. There is Jinx, who would like to stay as safe as possible, of course, and doesn't really have too much escape if somebody decides to jump onto her. But there is already Vi on the side of Zero Tenacity. There is already so much danger just in this single champion coming towards Zero Tenacity, and specifically Jinx, that no matter what else you get rid of, it's not going to help you anymore since Vi has been picked for Blue Razor.
Okay, so instead they opt into Nico, making sure that team fights are not as explosive for Zero Tenacity as possible. And it's the question now, what do they want to open with first? They can open with the top lane first and foremost, and then try to rotate themselves towards the mid. Both of these things will work considerably.
Quite possibly. I mean, I would say the mid lane would make more sense for Zero Tenacity to pick right now because it has already been open on the ESCA side and they're going to force them into 2 blind picks in a row. And of course, it's going to be Korotkiy. The most boring matchup, but the most obvious one. Korotkiy just does well into Azure. Nobody loses in this scenario. They scale almost the same way. So why not?
Now it forces ESCA to open their cards when it comes to the top lane. Rel is there for the taking, which is a good engager. They can use it right now. Not a lot of other engages open. Just in general, you can only try to go for something like an Arcan. Or you can pair up with the Enchanter, which is good in the current meta, and leaves you with a top lane pick. Now, Jax is available, Xante is available, Aatrox is available. There's a lot of things you can theoretically pick up for yourself.
Depends on what you want to blind pick right now, because so many things can be counter-picked quite easily on the current patch. I love the idea of On that they're hovering right now. It's going to be the safest option for them, because right now, as you noticed, yes, the engage tools are pretty much all of them on the side of Zero Tenacity and not ESCA, so On is going to help them massively should they want to stop the fight, but also it will help them to de-escalate the fight if it started on the terms that they are not happy with.
An On Azir combo when it comes to their ultimates, the Core of the Forge God and the Shurima Shuffle, is just such a good combo in general that allows you so much more room in any team fight, and that's pretty much exactly what both Xin, Azir, and Jinx foremost will want, is the room. Gwen, however, making her appearance, we know what Gwen is capable of. We know how much she can just pierce through pretty much anyone if left unattended. So it gives a hint to me that maybe if Zero Tenacity are going to prioritize the top lane just a little bit, give 1 or 2 kills to Melonic, then that game might be just very hard for ESCA to play.
That would be very nice for them, but to be fair, even if it doesn't happen like that, this is the mirror of what Orbit Anonymo went into the previous game with. This is a full scaling team. Nobody is hard set to win their lane in the early stages of the game. Zero Tenacity, all of them are going to scale really well into the late game. To be honest, the same goes, pretty much the same goes for ESCA Gaming. They're going to have a little bit less scaling damage because there is On versus Gwen on the top lane, but they still are going to scale very well into the mid game and maybe even into the late game should it happen.
Absolutely so. And it just now provokes a question in my eyes how also the skirmishes are going to go, right? The 2v2s, the 3v3s, because there's going to be a lot of prio shifting back and forth. The top lane, perhaps not that much, but when it comes to the bot lane, I'm expecting a bit of more, I guess, explosiveness coming there, pun intended, since Jinx is there. Is that the Jinx from Arcane? But the joke is old. But you have an opportunity to shove in the lane quite quick thanks to the rockets and thanks to the cloud damage that the rockets are doing, right? So should you choose and opt to go for it, you could try to just force the prio there and then try to go to play for the Drakes.
You know what? I like this idea. But there is one major flaw in it and something I don't like, because I want to see a bloodbath. I want to see big team fights between these two. ESCA are incapable of pulling out those big team fights. Zero Tenacity are prepared to have those big team fights, and I really want them to be clashing with each other as soon as possible. Most likely, it's not going to happen anywhere in the early game because, again, these comps, both of them just want to be waiting out quite a little bit. But then, boy, oh boy, it's going to be a very fun game of League of Legends.
Post level 6 is going to be fun. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a pre-level 6 and level 1 Summoner's Rift, as Team ESCA Gaming are going to take on Zero Tenacity and perhaps deliver me the accidental point, or Zero Tenacity will continue of establishing their path towards the top 2.
ESCA, you have a chance to make DrBrilmann's predictions surprisingly good, considering the overall odds, because I'm just checking DrBrilmann is the only one who voted for ESCA to win in this game. Again, accidentally, but it doesn't matter. It still counts as a vote. So it might just be the biggest upside we've seen in a long time in Ultraliga.
That is also true, yes, definitely so. The overall approach is going to be quite
Not aggressive from both of the team. Oh, even the Brofist. But actually, unironically, one of the coolest additions to the game, the Brofist emotes. They're just so cool. But anyway, the level 1 ward to make sure to spot if Blue Razor is going to get a little bit more aggressive with his pathing. I'm not going to give too much info though, because Blue Razor is in a completely different side of the map.
And it's really interesting what Desaline just did. He didn't let Melonic get into his jungle and to show him where Maz is starting and what is happening on the top side of the jungle. So very good control there from ESCA, because it could have been pretty fatal if Melonic decided to go in and place a ward, maybe even, do a little snip. And look at Mazi. Did you notice the skin he's playing with? It is the Hussar Sinjar.
Oh,
He knows
BM.
what he's doing there.
BMing your enemy. That's a psychological warfare. I like it.
We like it quite a lot here in Ultraliga and in League of Legends in general. But let's see how the rest of the game is going to look like for him, because so far he's pathing towards the bot side of the map. Blue Razor is going towards the top lane to see if maybe there is going a possibility to help Melonic out on the top lane. But remember that that's on the side of ESCA on the top lane. And if there is any champion you don't want the tower dive on, is definitely one of those.
Definitely so. There's just so much control coming up from the possibility to knock up people when you're around him in the melee range as well. It's not very easy to tower dive him. You can still try to go for it, since there is a little bit of true damage. There's going to be enough control, at least for a few seconds. So you could try to go for it. However, is it risky? Absolutely. Instead, we're going to see Mazzy now pathing towards the bot side. He will get spotted on the ward as soon as he steps out of that pixel brush. If he's going to do that. No, okay,
he hasn't been spotted.
Noticed. Is he going for Korotkiy? One flash plus the spear might do the trick.
But Korotkiy has a flash, remember that.
Oh yeah. Double flashes have been traded. Mazzy still chased him down, but that is flash taken away from Korotkiy, and Boofy is still sitting on his.
And the poor Korotkiy leaves, so we're quite happy about that part. Here's Blue Razor to shut him out a little bit. The top lane is looking really spicy, because Melonic is getting a lot of damage from that Own. Remember, kids, don't kid with Own, because that guy deals a lot of damage, even in the very early game. But yeah, this is how the game is going to look like for Melonic up until he gets 2 more levels and finally unlocks the ultimate.
And Blue Razor does exactly what you would think he would do. He sees that there's so much control coming from the top side of the map, knows that he can just step up here. Yes, Melonic took quite a bit of damage there, but it's still him who's going to clear the waves rather faster. Boofy had to reset so you can walk into the enemy's jungle and do a little bit of magic there. Are they going to attempt to tower dive? Probably not, because it's just a bit too risky, especially against Nilio.
Yeah. It's a little bit too much to try to go for right now in that situation, but they are making sure to scare the enemy away to make sure that for Jujila and UFO is going to be a really good reset, especially since there is very little mana available for both of them. They desperately needed to go back. And it's a good time to go back and get additional items into their pockets, because the Drake is coming up in 23 seconds. Might be the Ken Drake, considering we don't see which exactly it's going to be.
Thing is that when I look across the board, I see the 700 or 800 gold difference between the teams. I ask myself, why is that? And then I look in the jungle. You see that Mazzy is falling behind quite massively. There's a few camps. He's going to have an experience disadvantage as well. If that continues to be the case, Blue Razor should be picking up his level 5 as soon as possible. And that may prove to be quite crucial for this fight. But no, he stays level 4, starts the Drake since they have the prior in the mid. In the meantime, Korotkiy might be in a bit of trouble, but no, able to get out on the Valkyrie.
It's just a little bit of trouble, it's fine. It's just the amount of trouble that he can take on his lane, to be honest. But because of that, the bot lane of Zero Tenacity is able to help their jungler on the Drake. It's going to be noticed by ESCA, but no, the first Drake of the game is going into the pockets of Zero Tenacity. It's the Hex Drake, by the way, not the Chem one, but still, doesn't matter. Either of the Hex Drakes.
Of the ones.
Chem Drakes. Yeah, those, the newer ones, the younger guys. They always break the timers. But ESCA are doing exactly what you would expect. Honestly, speaking of expectations, I expected a little bit more aggressiveness from Muzzy, but aggressiveness is coming on the top lane instead. God damn it, these guys have no rest.
Level 6 is already through for both of them. Ultimate has been wasted by Melonic, so it opens up an opportunity to theoretically try to go for a fight here. Mazi, though, decides, okay, no, I've taken the 3 Void Grips. I'm happy. I'm falling behind in terms of tempo very heavily when you look just an overall state of the map, because Blue Razor is miles ahead just in terms of that sheer speed. Therefore, Mazi knows that, okay, I need to try to farm. I need to try to get as much of that resources poured into me. And same goes for the top lane. If you look at the TS difference, it's there. All needs to start to itemize in order to withstand just the overall trades between him and Gwen.
Yeah, to be fair, Mazi just needs to farm whatever is left of his jungle, because if anybody is aggressive in this game, it's definitely Blue Razor, constantly invading into the enemy jungle and making sure that Mazi is low on farm, not because he's a bad player or missing something, but because he has no camps to farm. They're constantly being taken away by the enemy Vi.
Exactly, and walking into the enemies would be a very bold call.
Oh, so
just
cute, and
giving.
it's pink.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's a pink Korotkiy. I love it so much.
But walking into the enemy's jungle might be just a very, very flippy thing to do, considering the fact that there's Korotkiy and then there's a lot of prio coming from the bot lane of Zero Tenacity, so therefore you're forced to stay behind. 2 versus 2 is looking over here. Melonic almost has his ultimate off the cooldown, but they decided not to take the fight. 7 minutes in, and still no first blood.
This is what you expect from the game like that, to be honest. You expect it to go a little bit slower in the beginning, with both of the teams trying to search for the leads, but not necessarily forcing the things way too much and way too hard from their side onto the enemy, because nobody needs to do that. Maybe Mazi a little bit again, but just because it's Xinjiang and he wants to be proactive earlier in the game.
A bit of a harder situation for Mazi to be in right now. Blue Razor already has his ultimate. Mazi falling behind in terms of that XP, in terms of that tempo. And fighting 2 versus 2, Zero Tenacity do have the upper hand. They decided not to force it too much. In the meantime, bot lane might give us some bit of that action. Level 6 available for Harpoon, so is available for Erdot, and they are successfully pushing them out. In the meantime, Mazi flashes away, Desaline instantly flashes out as well. Zero Tenacity take full control of the map, and this is exactly what you expect from them. The tempo is in their hands. They have full reason to just go for it, and it's everywhere across the map.
Yeah, they even rotated Korotkiy from the mid lane to make sure they have enough coverage of the top side of the map. Should ESCA decide to fight them back in the jungle, which luckily for ESCA, they decided not to. Very good decision. But yeah, I agree with you. Everywhere across the map, Zero Tenacity are in a very firm control of what is happening. The only thing they've missed so far is the 3 Void Grabs, but since they exchanged it for the first Hex Streak, it doesn't feel too bad for them just yet. And with Korotkiy, they will have the damage against the enemy.
Next one coming up in 1:30, so that means you can try to fight for the next one. Ultimate should be off the cooldown from Melonic when that moment comes in. So you can try to rotate your top laner as soon as that happens, in case you want a bit more control. Desaline will land a few blows now and there, since he has that mana to spare. While Melonic doesn't. He will get that turret plate though. He should be quite ahead in terms of gold.
I wish we're going to see the gold graph quite soon. I mean, the gold difference between the players. But yeah, I think it's going to show exactly what you just said. In the meantime, Zero Tenacity are going to push the bot lane a little bit further. Maybe the same will happen on the mid lane, with Korotkiy trying to get more advantage there for a free rotation. But ooh, Melonic got hit there by the Onhon, but is just running away on the ghost. No ghost on the top laner of Zero Tenacity. No teleport on the top laner of ESCA. So mind that, if we have an explosive fight around the Drake in the next 30 seconds, for this line is going to be much harder to join, unless he recalls.
No, it shouldn't go off the cooldown, no. It shouldn't, definitely.
No.
So it is looking to be like not exactly the best of skirmishes. Teleport now being wasted by Melonic to get to the lane, so he won't be able to get into the fight as quickly as you want.
Oh, it's not wasted, it's yours. Look at him, he's taking the turret plates, and quite a lot of them. Speaking of the gold difference between the top laners, it's gonna get even bigger.
It is indeed. The fight might just overclash here. Mazi now helping out his team. Knockup happened. Here comes Korotkiy package going onto Korotkiy though. The root coming in through, so much damage as well. Here comes the season deceased onto Gigila. He flashes out, tries to get into safety. Mazi in lots of trouble as well. Might be the first one to fall, and they can't finish off Korotkiy. Here comes Boofy with the shuffle right into the hands of UFO, but it's Boofy who finishes off that kill. Now it's Boofy who might be in trouble. Knocked up, rooted, and killed. Harpoon claims that kill. A bit of a shaky performance here from ESCA, and a bit of a more straightforward one from Zero Tenacity.
Yes, Zero Tenacity just straightforward played this fight better than ESCA. There was a really good ultimate from Buffy, but other than that, nothing good happened from ESCA, and there was definitely an overstep from ESCA to be there on the both side of the river like that, with Mazi getting caught out. Look at the amount of damage flying into their hands immediately, because into their faces rather, sorry, because it's Korotkiy with the package. He just picked it up. It's 10:36 when this fight starts, and he just picked it up and flew straight from the base as quickly as his little corky paws allowed him to do.
Overall, Zero Tenacity should feel very comfortable in this game. However, ESCA are picking themselves up the Void Grubs, and it's going to be the full stack of them, which may allow them to do more things on the map. However, the problem is when you fall behind in tempo as much as you do, the Void Grubs might not just grant you the needed push as you're so desperately looking for.
The problem for them is that they cannot use the grabs right now. They haven't been able so far to even get close to Zero Tenacity stairs. They haven't been able to get the plates from them because Zero Tenacity are all the time pushing them away from their toes. They are deep pushing the waves, making sure that there is no way for ESCA to get there. And right now, with the Void Grabs in their hands, they would love to change that. But if Zero Tenacity continue like that, no chance for ESCA to use these Void Grabs, which means that the objective exchange is heavily favoring Zero Tenacity.
ESCA need to find a way how to shut down the speed of Zero Tenacity. They need to find a way how to just get yourself a little bit more time, a little bit more space, find the needed resources, pretty much make sure that the gap is not rising as fast as it, or deepens rather as much as it does. In terms of gold, there's 3,000 gold difference, and it's just constantly getting bigger and bigger for Zero Tenacity with each minute and each fight. Look at the top lane, it's completely out of control of ESCA. Look in the jungle, Mazi is still struggling to catch up. At least the experience now is somewhere in the same position. But then if you refer to the bot lane as well, Luffy might be in trouble. Knocked up, shuffle has been used, gets out. Is he going to get chased? Perhaps so. The wall breaker, knock up in the air, and yes, even the turret shots are not going to save them. It's just not looking well for...
Maybe on the bot lane is going to look a little bit because Mazi is looking for a way to go in. But Zero Tenacity are playing very defensively there, and Erduri has the ultimate available. It's going to have heal off cooldown very soon, so it's really hard for ESCA to find any answer on the map. And again, they're still losing very heavily in tempo, and it doesn't look like they're recovering anywhere whatsoever.
No, not at all. Look at the top lane turret, just continues to form. Melonic doesn't even have to pay that much attention to the Ornn. One little snip with the scissors, and a chunk of his HP is gone. 3 turret plates in his hands as well. Completed item. Things are just going way too well for Z10.
Oh yes, again, across the map, everywhere, they're feeling very fine. They gave away just 1 kill to ESCA so far. It was a kill on Korotkiy, but Korotkiy doesn't seem to be suffering so far. He's going with the Eclipse build, which is pretty beloved by the cookies in the current patch. And finally, the goal difference is there for you.
1.6, 1.7 is the difference between the top laners. Bot lane also suffers from about 1,000, which is quite heavy. But now let's see what will be the fight between Desaline and Melonic. Mazi now walks up 3 levels down compared to Melonic. That is just quite crazy in this particular situation.
And Melonic is sitting on level 11, which means the second upgrade to his Snip, Snip, Snip is there. More true damage against buffier champions like Ornn, for example. How convenient for Melonic. No wonder he's winning the fights by default.
Few exchanges now and there. Herald has not been taken by Zero Tenacity just yet. Now they've been taken by ESCA. Dragon is coming up in 1 minute and 20 seconds. It's the Ocean Soul that we have present within the game. Desaline needs to walk back now because of the damage. He knows that their ultimate is there as well. Might be just his fault. Blue Razor maybe in a bit of trouble. The knockup is going to be there with the last auto. He's going to get with the season to cease instant flash out. Korotkiy was the one to get into the way of the Imperial Shuffle. Another flash out with the help of Jinx from the downtown. Might have been the way to turn this around, but no! Melonic just in time to help out his teammates and turn this fight into their own favor.
It helps Zero Tenacity so much to have fights on the top side of the map when they know Melonic is there, because he is pushing through the waves so fast. He's constantly threatening the enemy's turret on the top lane, which means he's free to rotate whenever he wants at any given time. Look at the minimap right now. He has pushed in the wave so heavily that he knows he can leave freely because Owen is going to be busy deep pushing his wave and protecting it at all costs, and he cannot follow, especially with such low HP that he has. A very good rocket from the downtown, indeed from Jinx, but in the end, Zero Tenacity are still getting out of the fight on top.
The Nashor's Tooth is already on Buffy, so that means he can continue to try to get to the Rabadon's cap as soon as possible. Might be not the case because there's not a lot of money to go for it, and again, Rabadon's cap is quite expensive. Because of that, might be not the next item choice for Buffy, but you could see that the amount of burst damage that he's already sitting upon is quite huge. He almost forced Korotkiy out of the fight. And it seems like ESCA, if they just had a little bit of that time that we are talking about for the entirety of the game, maybe they would have been able to do something.
Two problems for them. First of all, obviously, they don't have this time, unfortunately, for them. Zero Tenacity keep pushing in and keep forcing a very fast-paced game onto ESCA. And second of all, even if the game was, just continuing to be very slow, nobody getting the kills or anything at all on the map, Zero Tenacity is still scale on the same level as ESCA do. Look at Melonic. He is the top of his game right now in this game. He's sitting on 2 items already, just completed his Riftmaker very recently, and the damage he is dealing. Even to On, who is sitting on this Kanekudu something, still, he still feels all of that damage.
He does indeed. Taking that Herald is going to be no problem whatsoever. He will go down very, very quickly as well. As the Rockets, not going to steal it away. No, it was!
It is.
He stole it!
Yes. He stole it. And now, can Zero Tenacity defend the eye? Can they defend the eye?
Good question. They need just to walk up and take it. That's all you need to do. But no, ESCA go, you know what? No, fine. We stole it. It's good. GG'la. GG's to you. You did you did good. Now we go.
Yeah.
Mazzy doesn't
Exactly.
instantly retreat. They go, no. We got everything we needed. Bye. Have a great time.
No, GG is still pushing on the bot lane. The guy has been unattended by anybody. He's pushing. By the way, still losing heavily compared to Harpoon's minion stats so far, but at least he's getting the turret, he's getting the objective bounty, and we have a beautiful replay of how exactly this is going to be as steal. It didn't even hit the Herald, it hit Blue Razor.
Yeah, but again, the
collateral
collateral and the last second. I think the smite hasn't even been used.
I think Blue Razor used it, but maybe earlier because nobody was there fighting, so they didn't need to keep the smite till the very last moment. So he was pretty confident in using it whenever he wanted, but psyched Chiller was, he had a word to say about it. However, ESCA didn't get the eye in the end, so, well.
There's also another thing, which is if you look at the Dragon counter, you'll see that Zero Tenacity are on the soul point.
Uh-huh.
One more dragon in 3 minutes, they will have an early skull, they might push for the early dragon, and based on the fact that we don't see ESCA being capable of standing up for a fight, that might be just too much of a problem for them to deal with.
That is already too much of a problem to deal with, because ESCA would love to go for the next streak. They would love to contest the next streak when it comes in 2.5 minutes, but they can't, because look at what Zero Tenacity are doing. They're forcing them away from their own jungle. The bot jungle is being heavily warded by Z10 right now. Maybe it's going to be that UFO for the dessert, but not today.
Not today indeed. The pop has been saved. Mazzy now might be in a bit of trouble. Another ultimate has been used. A lot of damage already pressed onto Mazzy. Desaline gets back in with the hope of knocking up his enemies, but didn't find any. Based on the pings, it's just quite obvious that ESCA just wants to retreat. And then again, we're back in the same position. Tempo, not good. Resources, pretty poor. ESCA, what is going to be your answer?
Korotkiy is sitting on a package, should be sitting on a package on this recall. I would love to see that, but it's coming, it's either already in his hands or it's coming somewhere very soon to him, which means right now for ESCA it's going to be ever so harder to find any fighting angles for Zero Tenacity. And frankly, you were talking about the early dragon and the early elder dragon. Of course, a very good opening for Zero Tenacity, but I'm starting to think that their angle is actually for a very early Baron in this game.
I absolutely agree. They have enough damage. They have the Korotkiy, they have the Gwen, who's sitting on 2 items. They have the Aphelios, and as soon as you get the correct guns, you can just pretty much shred through that monster to be the best Hussar witches out there in the region of Poland. GG'la has no way to fight this. Mazzy with the knock-up will find it, but there's no follow-up. It's impossible to follow up at this point because Digital can't even walk up because it's going to be Harpoon who's going to be shooting at him and will kill him in the process of him just walking up.
Exactly. Whenever there are right guns for Harpoon for that Aphelios, with the Collector as his second item with more lethality, he's cutting through the poor Jinx, giving her no chance to answer. Oof.
But Desaline is getting tanky, I'll admit.
That's true.
Quite tanky. Will it be enough in the upcoming team fight? That is a question. Bot lane prior, top lane prior, mid lane prior, it's everywhere working for Zero Tenacity. Again, whether they will opt for that early Baron or not is a question. They might just pick up the Soul and then rotate themselves there. The Soul is in 25 seconds, and ESCA just need to find a way. How are they going to play this out?
ESCA need to unleash Desaline because as you just saw and as you just said, he's pretty tanky and ESCA don't really, Zero Tenacity don't really have any means to cut through his armor right now except for the true damage from Linnik. So that could be a nice angle for ESCA to find the fighting grounds in this fight, but look at the teleports coming in. Oi, 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 oi.
Korotkiy is around, sitting on his package. Linnik was looking for maybe a flank maneuver, but didn't find any. Korotkiy, as soon as he just Valkyries in, it's going to be a disaster. Watch out for it, and yes, it is. It's a beautiful lineup. Harpoon is going to kill Desaline, and then the rest is just falling apart. Erdod will be claimed in the process, but it's not going to be enough in just any way, shape, or form. Digital, though, firing away. Might be looking for more, but no, the rest of Zero Tenacity are just there. They're in firm control of the game, of the fights, of the scoreboard. It's an ace, it's a dragon, it's a soul, and it's a baron.
It's everything that Zero Tenacity could have asked and more. They only sacrificed Idori in that fight, and well, to be fair, they had to sacrifice somebody because there is a lot of damage in the hands of ESCA. You can see how much Jujilo was doing in that fight, almost bringing down Linnik, by the way, in the process. But in the end, Zero Tenacity have more damage on their hands, and they positioned so well in this fight. Look at that. They have the vision on the dragon right now, thanks to this little ward, and the other one, they are skirmishing around ESCA. Look at the two flanks coming at the same time. One, maybe ESCA could have dealt with one guy on their backline, but it's two at the very same moment they're flying into them, and ESCA are completely shattered, spread through the jungle, and dead one after another.
It feels like from the very beginning of the game, ESCA are just struggling to find any type of an answer to make sure that they can bounce back into it, right? And as we continue into the game, more and more gold is being put into Zero Tenacity's hand, more and more resources is being put into their hand as well. And again, if you have so much prior on all of your lanes, then you can do pretty much anything without any sort of punish.
I don't think anybody's punishing them anymore, to be honest. I think Zero Tenacity might be going for a quick end Summerson because they have the Baron buff. They will be pushing in. Oh, UFO is finally a dessert. Full Zero Tenacity. -1 for ESCA. Might be Zero Tenacity pushing their base.
Right, well, indeed. Bot lane turret is about to fall. Mid lane turret might get siege just in a few seconds as well. Korotkiy is around there. Zero Tenacity are looking to push through the bot lane for one composition. It's going to fall just in about a mere seconds. Look at what Linnik is doing to the tower.
Snip, 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 snip. Never knew Caesars were a good weapon against structures, but apparently they are.
Angela takes a full rocket into his face, loses almost the majority, well, not the majority, almost the entirety of his HP bar, decides to reset as the mid lane inhibitor is about to fall. Might be looking for another fight here. Linnik in the midst of it all goes into Desaline. Ornn takes quite a bit of damage. Mazzy and Giggler as well. Here comes the Ornn Horn. Gonna knock up two. Not much though. They're gonna bring Linnik down. Perhaps he's still unborn as Desaline flashed out, but he was instantly rooted. Here comes the triple man ultimate. Not gonna claim anyone's soul just yet. And nobody dies. Can you just at least try to defend that base for now? But no, Zero Tenacity withdrawing. They see that they can't finish just yet and want to have another go at it.
They have the remains of the Baron buff. They have big minions pushing into the enemy space. The enemy space is very open. Yeah, they do want to go through the top lane right now. This is the only lane that is still remaining. They want to cut through the inner turret, through the base turret. And after that, if ESCA don't stop them there, that is going to be the end of the game.
Might be just as well. Mazzy might be caught away here in a bit of a disadvantage. Knock up from the wall breaker, looking for more damage. UFO is here to try to help him out, but so is Erdod. Boofy walking up too. They're not looking to pick up this fight. They can't really, but they have to. There's no choice really, because if you don't, that might be just the end of it.
Quite possibly, yeah. For ESCA, this might be last stand right here. The difference between the teams is insane right now. Look at the item difference. Poor Mazi hasn't even completed the second item. Almost nobody has on the side of ESCA. How can they fight this?
No way! Look at the health bars. They are just disappearing. Almost like if they never existed there in the first place. More and more minions being poured into the top lane. As Melone now again shreds through the top tower. Another rocket, not going to find his Saga Season to see something. The Jinx, the knockup is there, but the shuffle is going to only just prolong the inevitability. It is Thanos, who's now the soul of Zero Tenacity, and they are going to delete half of the enemies on this rift. These towers are about to fall, and so is the Nexus, as with 3 to 15, Zero Tenacity are ending the game.
DrBrilmann had an attempt to try to have a sudden point out of his predictions. Didn't work out for him. And in the end, it is going to be, yeah, sure. Keep telling us. Yeah, mate. Yeah, you were just trying to outsmart everybody. And it almost worked, to be honest. I could see the world where it could happen, but not in this world. Zero Tenacity are just outperforming on every single level.
Modern problems require modern solutions. That's all I'm going to say. A convincing victory from Zero Tenacity. We've expected them to perform well. They have delivered. But now let's hear from the heroes themselves. It is Korotkiy who's joining us here for the interview. Hello, mate.
Hello.
I guess you're feeling very well, so just walk me through what had happened.
Yeah, it was pretty decent game. Like, we get every Drake. We lost one Herald only, and it's just Jinx Rocket stole it, so can't really do much about it. So we are pretty happy about this game.
So, Korotkiy, I'm actually really happy that we have you on the interview because I have watched your progression with the Instable Wildcats before that, and I was, I loved it. Let's just put it this way. But right now, you're in a completely different league. You're in Ultraliga, and can you please tell us how different it is here? Is it different here compared to your previous experience in Division 1?
How is it different? Like, when we start Istanbul Wildcats, like, we were like, didn't improve too much, I think. We were like already doing our stuff, and it just worked out like kind of magically, kind of. And here we need like more synergy, like we need to work hard and make it slowly, kind of. But we can improve a lot, so, and it's really great people, and everyone tries to improve, so far so good.
You've touched on this topic yourself, and we've been talking about this for the entirety pretty much of the day, that we were comparing Zero Tenacity and Anonymo as the two strongest contenders right now at the scoreboard of the entire league. But what I'm wondering is your take on it, because right now it is Anonymo who's going with the flawless run. It is Anonymo that brought down Zero Tenacity, and from our perspective, it felt like the problem that we see is that the team is not particularly clicking when it comes to Zero Tenacity, that the synergy is not particularly there. Now, what is your approach to why the victory wasn't found there and you're not also doing the flawless run, or the team that is doing the flawless run?
So the thing is, like, we were trying like kind of unnecessary plays that game because we was ahead early game, like kind of as always, and we just tried like not needed plays, and they didn't work out, and they gain from it, so they get ahead and we just lost. Now we are just trying to, when we get lead, we just try to use it like slowly, like not skipping steps, and finish cleanly. And we did that today, so we are happy.
As you should, to be honest. But I would like your opinion as a mid laner. For you personally, how much do you think the meta and the feeling of the game has changed in Season 14 compared to the previous years?
More of a scaling level. You don't fight that much. You just like CS and play for objectives. There is not too much fights, so it's kind of boring a bit.
All right.
We've had quite a few opinions actually over here, because we've had people that say that they love Season 14. We've had a person who's walked in and said, I don't like Season 14. And now you are saying that if you find it boring, it's an interesting way to approach the game.
Yeah, like mid laners need kind of dopamine, you know? You need to fight and get some kills, but now you need to wait. I don't like waiting.
If you do DrBrilmann, why are you picking Korotkiy on the mid lane?
But it's strong. What you should do? Like you need to win
That's
games,
true.
so
That's
it's the way.
that's true. Can you have fun and win games at the same time?
No.
I mean, it's fun after like at some point, like when you have packages and when you have like
That's
3
true.
items, it's pretty fun, but you just need to wait. It's the hard
Yeah.
part. We didn't do it against Orbit Anonymo, so we're gonna do that next time.
I mean, actually, that makes sense. Just as it is in real life, you've got a little bit of a moment when you feel absolutely happy, and then you just wait.
Yep.
Then you're happy,
Wow.
and then you wait.
Yes, I'm waiting to smash Neramin now. I'm not happy.
I love it.
think that was the perfect moment to wrap it up, honestly, because congratulations on your victory, Kofte. The team did splendid today. It was a convincing victory. But now, the tradition goes, if you'd like to give anyone a shout out before you leave, even maybe in your own native language, go ahead and do it just now.
Okay, shout out to the owner of the team, Happy. Like he's really great, and gaming house is great as well. Like he's doing everything he can, and I really appreciate it. And shout out to Turkish fans if there are here. Like izlediğiniz için teşekkürler. Desteklerseniz sevinirim. Buradayız. Genelde saat 8 gibi falan oynuyoruz. Pardon 10 gibi oynuyoruz. Desteklerseniz sevinirim. Teşekkürler. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Kofte, for joining us here today. Again, thank you so much for the interview and thank you for the victory. Hoping to see you here later and good luck in the future.
Thank you. See you later.
See you
Thank
later.
you. So that concludes the day for us. Short but very sweet. 3 very exciting games. I loved every single one of them.
Despite the fact that we had one game less, it feels like we've got exactly what you expect of Ultraliga. You go out a little bit of, this is how we expect it to be, a little bit of, what is going on? And then one just proper bloodbath.
Yeah. It's the perfect mix, the perfect Ultraliga recipe. You take a little bit of craziness, a little bit of, we know how it's gonna go, and a lot of bloodbath. And that's it. The perfect evening for you.
Absolutely so. If you want more perfect evenings, then we are going to see you here next week on Tuesday and Wednesday for 8 more games of Ultraliga. Just reminding you that right now the throne is taken by Orbit Anonymo. We're waiting for the team that is going to dethrone them. Will it happen in the nearest future, or will we see the flawless run until the end of the season? That is a question yet to be answered. But for now, it is time to forbid our farewells by the looks of it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is DrBrilmann. I was joined here by Solari. And shout out to my UTech, who has been hosting kindly shows for us and will do so in the future. Let's have a good rest and we'll see you next week.
Sí, ¿vos de qué parte sos?
Yo de aquí.
Ah, mira,
¿Tú de qué parte eres?
del norte.
Even the biggest champ needs a break.